Chapter 980. Of course, Sikong Yi was not a fool. If he served Kevin Matthew well in Shenzhen, it would be much easier if he suddenly went to Seattle and asked him to help him find a good position in the U.S. military's Weapons Research and Development Department. Huaxia people were always at the forefront of the world when it came to dealing with interpersonal relationships. You could not live without connections, and you could not do anything without connections. If you had connections, you could go anywhere without bowing your head. If you did not have connections, you would not be able to do anything even if you had courtesy. Huaxia people's social relationships were so realistic. Huaxia people were deeply influenced. In this day and age, even if there were beautiful and capable girls who used their abilities to climb to a high position, they would be said to have used their bodies to create connections. Sikong Yi was so enthusiastic about Kevin Matthew because he wanted to build a good relationship between the two of them. This was called relationships, and this was called planning for his own future. He had to get Kevin Matthew. Sikong Yi firmly believed that this was an opportunity given to him by God. Brother Sikong, then I will ask directly. How could Kevin Matthew not know what Sikong Yi was thinking? He could get Sikong Ye's address through a few phone calls. This showed a very simple problem. Everyone in Huaxia wanted to get in touch with him and help him do something to make him remember them. This was not for others, but for their own future. They would tell themselves that if they had the opportunity to develop in a bigger place in the future, Kevin Matthew could help them reach the sky with a single word. Mr. Matthew, please go ahead. Sikong Yi sat across from Kevin Matthew very seriously, ready to listen to his questions. A few days ago, there was an explosion at Shenzhen Xinkai Hotel. According to the police investigation and evidence, the explosion was caused by a special kind of bomb. This kind of bomb does not circulate on the black market. Therefore, it is impossible to find clues from the people in the black market. Kevin Matthew said bluntly, "But I can confirm that the bomb was made by you through the scene of the explosion and some clues and scattered evidence collected by the police. 2 years ago, there was a genius gathering for weapons enthusiasts in the United States. At that time, you used this kind of bomb and left a deep impression on me." So, Sikong Ye's forehead was already sweating. He didn't expect that Kevin Matthew's visit would have something to do with this. If he had known, he would have packed up and fled. He really didn't know which bastard had sold out his address. "So, I hope Brother Sikong can cooperate with me and tell me who you sold the bomb to," Kevin Matthew said. Sikong Ye's forehead was covered in a thin layer of sweat. He didn't know what this had to do with Kevin Matthew, nor did he understand why Kevin Matthew would ask him this question. Thinking of this, Sikong Yi turned his head to look at Su Yun and Lin Gu. This matter definitely had something to do with these two brats. There must be no mistake. He could not admit it. If he did, it would be more difficult to continue the conversation. "Mr. Matthew, I think there may be some misunderstanding. My bomb is not something rare." Sikong Yi said, "Maybe someone else will do it. It's hard to say. Are you playing with fire and refusing to admit it?" Lin Gu didn't have as much patience as Su Yun. When he heard that Sikong Yi refused to admit it, he couldn't help but stand up. Sikong Ye's heart skipped a beat. He hurriedly said to Kevin Matthew, "Mr. Matthew, what do you mean?" "Nonsense. Don't try to pin everything on me, Brother Matthew. You know very well whether you were the one who sold that thing or not." Lin Gu said, "We even invited a weapons expert. How could there be a mistake? I tell you, I don't have much patience. Think carefully before you speak. Pigeon, sit down. You don't have the right to speak." Su Yun said lightly. Kevin Matthew hadn't finished yet, so there was no need to be so anxious. Lin Gu might not listen to Kevin Matthew, let alone Sikong Ye's words. But since Su Yun spoke, he immediately sat back down obediently. Sikong Yi was somewhat frightened by Lin Ji's actions. He took a sip of water with trembling hands. "Mr. Matthew, if you came here to talk to me about this, then I really have nothing to say. Sikong Yi took another big gulp of water. "I have nothing to do with this. Brother Sikong, if I didn't have 100% confidence and certainty, I wouldn't come here." Kevin Matthew said, "Since you don't admit it, I don't have to force you to admit it. After all, we are friends. I gave face to my friends, and you also gave face to my friends. In the future, our relationship won't change because of this matter." After listening to Kevin Matthews' words, Seekong Yi breathed a sigh of relief. That's good, that's good. As long as Kevin Matthew didn't argue with him, he didn't care what other people thought. But Kevin Matthew changed the topic. "You saw it just now. These two friends of mine aren't as easy to talk to as I am. Since Brother Seekong doesn't want to talk to me, then talk to them. This is Su Yun, my brother Yun. I'm staying at Shinkai Hotel now. Everything was arranged by him. He has to find out about the explosion at Shinkai." Seekong Yi raised his head and glanced at Su Yun. When the other guy was trying to scare him, it was Su Yun who stopped him. This made Seekong Yi feel that Su Yun should be an easy person to talk to. He wasn't afraid of this kind of person. As long as he clenched his teeth and refused to admit it, this matter would be forgotten tomorrow. "Brother, if I know anything, I'll definitely tell you," Seekong Yi explained to Su Yun. "We're fated to meet each other. We'll be friends from now on." Su Yun, who had been gentle and refined just a moment ago, suddenly kicked over the coffee table. Seekong Yi was completely dumbfounded by this sudden outburst of anger. He stared wide-eyed at the suddenly furious Su Yun. It was as if this person had changed into another person in a second. "Seekong Yi, if we talk, I'm afraid it won't be pleasant." Su Yun's face was cold. He really wasn't in the mood. This bomb put Wan Qingshuang in too much danger. "Matthew gave you a chance just now, but you didn't take it." I already said that this is a misunderstanding. This has nothing to do with me." Seekong Yi was a little nervous. He wanted to call the police, but the alarm system button was under the coffee table. However, the coffee table had already been kicked over by Su Yun. "You better think carefully before you speak. This is my house. Your actions just now have caused me to commit a crime of personal harm. I have the right to sue you." Su Yun ignored his threats. He stepped forward and didn't give Seekong Yi any time to react. His big foot directly stepped on Seekong Ye's chest. If it wasn't for the fact that the sofa was leaning against the wall, Su Yun's strength would have been enough to stomp him to the ground. "If you can't remember, it's okay. I can help you wake up. Sometimes people are like this. They need to wake up." Su Yun smiled as he twisted open the bottle of mineral water in his hand and poured the whole bottle on Seekong Ye's head. Seekong Yi took the water out of the fridge. When the cold water poured over his head, he couldn't help but shiver. If he hadn't gone to the toilet just now, he would have peed his pants. Kevin Matthew smiled helplessly. Su Yun, oh Su Yun. He really couldn't understand his actions. A second ago, he was still trying to stop Lin Guo from speaking rudely and playing the good guy. The next second, he became a big villain. Chapter 981. Seekong Ye's head was drenched in cold water. Every inch of his skin was covered in goosebumps. He didn't expect the other party to suddenly attack him so violently. As a technical geek, it was reasonable for him to be physically weak. Su Yun's casual kick was enough to make it difficult for him to even breathe. In his panic, Seekong Yi looked at Kevin Matthew for help. This was his only hope now. "Mr. Matthew, tell them to stop. What are they doing? We are friends. How can you treat me like this? Quick, tell them to stop. Let's talk things out." "I'm sorry, Brother Seekong. We are indeed friends. I've said before that no matter what happens today, we will still be friends. But it's not up to me now. These two friends of mine are originally good-tempered people, but if this happened to anyone, I'm afraid they wouldn't be able to talk things out peacefully." Kevin Matthew said calmly, "We are all friends. Since I can't convince you to explain the situation to me, I can't convince them to leave here and not cause you trouble either. I'm neutral. If you want them to be calm and courteous, then cooperate more." I'll cooperate. This is a misunderstanding. It really has nothing to do with me. How about this? If you have any questions, I'll answer them. Sikong Yi said, I've already said, let's be calm. Calm down. You are Matthew's friends, so am I. A friend of a friend is a friend. Su Yun said bluntly, I'm not here to listen to your nonsense. Who bought a bomb from you? This is really a misunderstanding. I've already said that it really wasn't me. Sikong Yi clenched his teeth and insisted. But what welcomed him was the other bottle of cold mineral water in Su Yun's hand being poured over his head. Right now, the sofa that Sikong Yi was sitting on was already filled with water. Su Yun glanced at Kevin Matthew. Kevin Matthew shrugged his shoulders. His expression told Su Yun that his judgment was not wrong. If Sikong Yi did not admit it, there was nothing he could do. As long as Kevin Matthew was certain, Su Yun would be able to pry the answer out of his mouth. Pigeon, let him bleed. Lin Gu was startled. This wasn't Brother Yun's style. It seemed like Brother Yun really didn't have much patience. No one would be able to control their emotions when their beloved woman's life was threatened. After receiving Su Yun's order, Lin Gu immediately pulled out a short blade from his trousers. Before Sikong Yi could react, the blade was already pressed against his neck. The faint contact between the cold blade and his neck made Sikong Ye's hair stand on end. As long as Lin Ji's wrist trembled slightly, he would definitely see red. Calm down. Calm down. Sikong Yi was starting to get really scared. We want to talk nicely, but you don't want to. Su Yun, I know your rules. If you reveal the identity of the buyer, you might be in danger of being killed. But right now, if you don't tell me, I can take your life right away. Kevin Matthew added, he's not just saying that. I understand. Sikong Ye's throat moved, and he swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Finally, don't talk nonsense. Lin Gu raised his wrist, and Sikong Yi immediately felt the pain of his skin being cut. From now on, you have to pay the price for every word you say. Because the blade was so close to his throat, and the blade was so sharp, Sikong Yi didn't even dare to speak. He was afraid that if he made a sound, the blade would cut his throat even more. Lin Ji's hand loosened slightly, and Sikong Yi finally got a chance to breathe. They forced me to do it. They knew that I was the only one who could create a small explosion that wouldn't endanger anyone within 2 meters of me. Their goal was to intimidate, so the bombs I made were the most selective. Who? Su Yun said straightforwardly. I'm not here to buy a bomb from you. You don't have to recommend your products so strongly. Guan Pang. Sikong Yi said, I don't know who they are, and they never mentioned it to me. I only found out about this name when I accidentally overheard them talking on the phone. Their boss is called Guan Pang. I've never seen this person before, but these people are all under Guan Peng's orders. Guan Pang is the mastermind, and it has nothing to do with me. This name was both familiar and unfamiliar. Su Yun felt that he had heard it somewhere before, but he couldn't remember where he had heard it before. If even Su Yun didn't know who it was, Lin Gu naturally wouldn't have heard of it either. They looked at Kevin Matthew, and Kevin Matthew was even more confused. He knew even less about Hua Xia's underground world. In order to show his cooperation, Sikong Yi added, those people under him are very strong. At first glance, you can tell that they are the kind of people who play around with fitness. Their bodies are very strong. For your own good, I advise you not to trouble them. For your own good, you better not rely on your knowledge of weapons to earn this kind of money. Lin Gu snorted. With such a luxurious mansion, if a technical geek didn't use some tricks, it would be impossible for him to earn so much money. Sikong Yi probably helped a lot of people from the underworld do illegal things, which was why he could earn so much money in such a short time. About this Guan Pang, how much do you know? Su Yun said, where are they, or... I swear, I really don't know anything about this. Sikong Yi said with a sad face, I didn't want to do it for them. They didn't pay at all, but I had no choice. I was forced. If I didn't listen to them, I don't know what they would do. Although I usually do some bad things, I am also very clear about this kind of thing. It is very likely that they would use it to cause panic and create terrorist incidents. But I had no choice. I can't win against them. I sigh. Su Yun signaled Lin Gu to let him go. Sikong Yi was indeed a coward. They had just started to threaten him, and Sikong Yi was already scared. It probably didn't take much effort for Guan Peng's subordinates to get rid of him. If this guy was a little tougher, as a technical geek, he might be valued by the army. But if he was a coward, no matter how talented he was, the army wouldn't look at him. A coward wouldn't be able to achieve anything. He could only be a useless person for the rest of his life. How many of these bombs did you give them? Su Yun's voice was irresistible. Sikong Yi said weakly, "They asked for one. I made three. I didn't want to make so many for them, but the materials they brought were enough to make 3. I was afraid that they would be angry at me, so I made 2 more to show my sincerity. That way, even if they wanted to kill me, they might leave me a way out." Lin Gu really wanted to slap this guy. This guy was really hopeless. The other party only wanted one. It meant that they didn't want to cause fear in the people. They were completely aiming for the hotel, or rather, for Wan Qingshuang. Su Yun was also sure of this. Who exactly was Guan Peng? This became the most important problem for Su Yun to solve. There didn't seem to be such a name in the underworld, but the more Su Yun thought about it, the more familiar it was. Chapter 982. Mr. Matthew, if they know that I betrayed Guan Peng, I won't be able to stay in Huaxiar anymore. Although Huaxiar is so big, there is no place for me to stay. Sikong Yi sighed. I have nowhere to go now. I can only pack my things and go abroad to hide. If I go to the United States, can Mr. Matthew help me? The American government is already in such a state, but Brother Matthew is still unmoved and not willing to risk his life for them. Lin Gu said, "You grandson, yet you want to take the initiative to go to the American government to look for work. You are sticking your face to other people's buttocks, and you still have the nerve to ask? Don't you feel ashamed?" Sikong Yi gritted his teeth and hated Lin Gu in his heart, but he still continued to plead with Kevin Matthew. "Mr. Matthew, I have fallen into this situation because of you. We have some friendship. You won't leave me in the lurch, right? If you really can't live anymore, then think of a way to apply for immigration." Kevin Matthew said, "There must be a place for you to stay in the United States. If I can help you, I will not refuse your request. However, I am afraid that I can't help you with anything now. If the American government knows that I am in Huaxia, I am afraid that they will even have the idea of killing me. If you want to be safe, it is best to cut ties with me." "What?" Sikong Ye's head buzzed. "What do you mean? The American government even has the idea of killing you? Are you really giving up the great future that the American government has given you and just return to Huaxia? Mr. Matthew, this is a very unwise move. You must not do such a stupid thing." Kevin Matthew shrugged. "But I have already done it. I am already standing in Huaxia. Of course, as long as you have nothing to do with me, the American government will not make things difficult for you. It is an open and free country, and it pays attention to human rights. So, you will be able to live well there." Sikong Yi stared at Kevin Matthew with his eyes wide open. "You mean, once you come to Huaxia, you will never go back? I can't guarantee this, but at least I can be sure that the American government will not welcome me back." Kevin Matthew was very honest. "So, I really can't help you. Then why am I wasting my time here with you? I made friends with you because of the American government behind you. You're nothing now. Why didn't you say so earlier?" Sikong Yi almost broke down. "I'm going to call the police now. You are trespassing. I will sue you." Sikong Yi was so angry that he felt like his heart and lungs were about to explode. He could not believe the reality. He actually flattered a guy who was of no use to him for such a long time. "Damn it, Kevin Matthew, how dare you play with me? I will not let's go. Sue your ass." Lin Gu jumped up and kicked Sikong Yi in the face. Sikong Yi didn't even make a sound before he fell into his own sofa and fainted. It was a clean move without any hesitation. Lin Ge clapped his hands and smiled at Kevin Matthews' thumbs up. Let's go. If the police really come, we won't be able to explain ourselves. Su Yun was still thinking about Guan Peng's name. Since the incident happened in Shenzhen, perhaps Yi Fara would know who Guan Peng was. Anxious to return home, Su Yun and the other two quickly left Jinhua Heavenly Court. Originally, according to the rules of the rich area, before the guests left, the host had to call the security department first. Only after confirming that the host was safe and sound would the security at the door let them go. However, the host was Sikong Yi. All the security knew that the host had a bad temper and no one wanted to provoke him. The three of them had just entered. Sikong Yi didn't call the security department and the security department didn't stop them either. They just let Su Yun and the others leave. If a person was unlucky, then even drinking cold water would be stuck in their teeth. Sikong Yi had encountered such an unlucky incident. After returning to Xingkai, Ruan Qingshuang asked Ruan Chao to arrange their parents' accommodation. After the two elders of the Ruan family arrived in Shenzhen and learned that their daughter was fine, they were very relieved. They went shopping with their son for the whole day. Of course, it was Yi Fara who forced Ruan Chao to take a day off. Su Yun hurriedly found Yi Fara and immediately told him everything he knew from Sikong Yi. When Yi Fara heard the two words Guan Peng, he quickly raised his head and looked at Su Yun. These were all fleeting details and Su Yun saw all of them. Who is this Guan Peng? Su Yun asked. Yi Fara shook his head. Maybe I'm ignorant. I really haven't heard of this person. Now isn't the time to joke around, Sister Yi. Su Yun looked at Yi Fara seriously. Yi Fara took a deep breath and sighed. Okay, I do know this Guan Peng. Although he doesn't belong to the underground world, he's definitely someone that people in the underground world don't want to provoke. Do you know why you feel that his name is very familiar? It's because he's the founder of Hua Xia's top underground boxing competition. So it's him. Su Yun suddenly realized. No wonder he felt that this name was very familiar. Although he wasn't famous in the underground world, there were quite a few people who fought for him who were famous in the underground world. However, such a person had nothing to do with Ruan Qingshuang. Why would he do such a dangerous thing to Ruan Qingshuang? Su Yun couldn't understand at all. He couldn't understand at all. The only explanation was that Yi Fara had some old and new grudges with this Guan Peng. Do you have any conflicts with him? Su Yun didn't hide his doubts and asked directly. Yi Fara shook his head. It really can't be considered as any conflicts. It's just that we met a few times in the past. However, about a year ago, there was a huge riot in the underground boxing competition. After that, Guan Peng stopped. It's only recently that he wanted to stir up a storm of blood in Shenzhen. That made people puzzled. Ruan Qingshuang definitely didn't have any grudges with this Guan Peng. Yi Fara also didn't have any deep grudges with him. Why would he do this? Are you sure that person didn't lie to you and that it was really Guan Peng who did it? Yi Fara was slightly doubtful. Su Yun nodded. At that time, the look in Sikong Ye's eyes couldn't have been faked. He was really afraid of death. Faced with such a threat, he didn't dare to lie. This was something obvious. I'm sure. When faced with such a threat, people like Sikong Yi wouldn't dare to lie. Yi Fara didn't say anything else. She was silent for a while. Then I'll help you keep an eye out. It's best if we understand the situation before making a move. Know yourself and your enemy and you won't be defeated in 100 battles. These words weren't wrong. Su Yun's days in Shenzhen weren't that stable. He didn't have time to understand Guan Peng. Now that someone stepped on his head, if Su Yun didn't settle this matter, he wouldn't be able to stand firm in Shenzhen. Xingkai's status in Shenzhen would also be lowered. Many things could happen due to a chain of events. Therefore, Su Yun had to take this seriously. The first time Guan Peng touched trouble, he touched Su Yun's bottom line. Su Yun naturally wouldn't tolerate it. Chapter 983. Late at night, the brightly lit streets of Shenzhen contrasted sharply with the scattered stars in the sky. The famous Chin Tai Hotel stood in the middle of the night. Most people didn't know that there was a third floor under the hotel's two-story underground parking lot. Of course, the third floor wasn't a parking lot, but a miniature indoor arena that imitated the ancient Roman Colosseum. The ring-shaped seats were enough to accommodate thousands of people at the same time. It wasn't easy to accommodate such a large number of guests in such a space. After all, other than the spectator stands, there was also a fighter's lounge, a fighter's passageway, a special betting platform for underground fights, and so on. The match that was originally scheduled for tonight was cancelled, but Guan Peng still came to the arena that he had painstakingly built and sat down quietly. Everything here belonged to him. In this place, he was the underground emperor who could get whatever he wanted. No one dared to go against his will, and no one dared to go against his orders. He said that whoever didn't live past this night wouldn't be able to see the sun rise tomorrow morning. Guan Peng had the best underground fighters in the country. These people were different from those who focused on qi cultivation. They focused on pure martial strength. For example, they focused on cultivation to ensure that their strength was balanced in all aspects. It was like the strength of Demacia or Iron Man in OL. Underground fighters focused on martial strength. It was like the dark-born sword demon or the peerless sword concubine. Although this analogy wasn't very appropriate, it was more or less the same. Therefore, because underground boxers did not cultivate qi, they would not be looked down upon by cultivators of the ancient martial arts. This was the reason why underground boxers would not be able to make a name for themselves in the underground world. After all, to a certain extent, underground fighters weren't suitable for battles without restrictions and rules. Their weapons were their fists. They didn't have hidden weapons, swords, daggers, or even pistols. The experts that appeared in the underground world these years, whether it was the 3 kings or the 7 kings, were all people who cultivated both the ancient martial arts and the state of mind. Therefore, underground fighters were slowly ignored. No one was even willing to admit that they were experts. They were only seen as a group of clowns. Of course, this situation was indeed because some clowns had deeply imprinted this idea in the eyes of the underground world's experts. Therefore, even those third-rate masters who were no match for underground boxers began to look down on the strength of underground boxers. Guan Peng had been in charge of the underground world for all these years, but no one had ever mentioned his name in the same breath as the 3 kings of the underground world. No, not even the 7 kings of the underground world had ever been mentioned in the same breath. Quite a number of people would only hear his name once or twice by chance, and then they would quickly forget it. However, Guan Peng had never given up on being an underground boxer. He believed that sooner or later, their group would be recognized by the people of the underground world. They would be recognized by those who believed that cultivating the state of mind was the most important thing. Those who trained their muscles and bones were also not to be underestimated. Finally, the appointed time arrived. A burly man with short hair knocked on the door and entered. He said in a low voice, "Second brother, Miss Yi is here." "Then hurry up and invite him in." Guan Peng came back to his senses and put out the cigar in his hand in the ashtray. Yi Fala's voice came from behind the burly man with short hair. She walked straight towards Guan Peng. "Second brother, long time no see." Guan Peng, who was 38 years old, looked like he was in his early 30s. He was the second child in his family, and he respected martial saint Guan Yunchang very much. The tattoo on his back of the beautiful bearded duke riding a white horse and angrily raising the azure dragon crescent blade to behead Yen Liang was enough proof. Therefore, he liked others to call him second brother. No matter if it was someone older or younger than him, as long as they understood him a little, they would respectfully call him second brother. At this time, Guan Peng would always feel a little proud and arrogant. That kind of feeling was as if he had really become Guan Yu. "Yi Zi, long time no see indeed." Guan Peng faintly smiled. "I've also heard a little about your matter. I really didn't expect you to come out so quickly. Hee, your relationship is quite strong. In the future, if I have something that I can't handle, I hope you won't just stand by and watch." Second brother is joking. If it's something that even second brother can't handle, what virtue and ability can this little girl have? Yi Fala faintly smiled. "Second brother, let's not talk so much, right? I'll be frank. Guan Peng's face didn't have the slightest change in emotion. He faintly said, "Don't worry, we can talk slowly. It's still early, isn't it?" For the underground fights that would only start late at night every day, it was indeed very early. However, for normal people, 12 o'clock was already considered not early. However, this was other people's territory, so Yi Fala couldn't say anything. She smiled and didn't say anything. She wanted to hear what Guan Peng wanted to do. "How is it? Do you think my place is not bad?" Guan Peng pointed at his miniature version of the Roman Colosseum, and said proudly. Yi Fala nodded, still smiling but didn't say anything. "I know that all these years, you people who cultivate the mind have always looked down on us underground fighters. However, I still have to say that the underground fighters under me are definitely not weaker than those so-called experts of yours." Guan Peng said, "Sooner or later, I will let you all know that underground fighters are not to be trifled with. Second brother, I have never meant to look down on underground fighters." Yi Fala said, "Those who look down on you all are people who have no vision. Don't you think so? I have always respected you all. There is no lack of experts among the underground fighters." Hearing Yi Fala speak so well, Guan Peng felt a burst of joy in his heart. However, he changed the topic. "Yi Fala, anyone can say beautiful words. Do you really think so?" "Of course." Yi Fala spoke the truth. "Then why do you always reject me?" Guan Peng's expression became serious. "In fact, you only say that. However, in the true sense, you still have a prejudice against my identity. You think that an underground fighter is not worthy of you. Is that right?" Yi Fala helplessly sighed. "Second brother, I remember that I told you a long time ago that matters of the heart shouldn't be talked about like this. I didn't accept you not because you are an underground fighter, but because of my feelings. I remember what you said at that time. You said that as long as you have feelings, even if it is an ordinary person, you will love them without hesitation." Guan Peng said affectionately. "Yes. I did say that." Yi Fala said. Guan Peng's face sank, "But in the end, you are still entangled with an underground world expert who cultivates the mind. To put it bluntly, you definitely won't fall for an ordinary person. Your choice is still an expert who cultivates the mind. Am I right?" "This has nothing to do with that." Yi Fala's voice also became unyielding. "Second brother, I didn't come to see you today to talk to you about this. I just want to ask you one thing. Were you the one who arranged for the explosion in my hotel?" Guan Peng's gaze met Yi Fala's, but he didn't open his mouth to speak. Chapter 984. Guan Peng was silent for about 3 minutes. Finally, he lost in the confrontation with Yi Fala. He turned his head, lit another cigar, took a deep puff, and enjoyed the leisurely feeling of being surrounded by smoke. "What's wrong? You don't dare to answer?" Yi Fala provoked. "Or are you admitting to it?" "Yi Zi, a man dares to take responsibility for his actions." Guan Peng said while smoking the cigar, "I won't deny the things I've done. That's something only the Japanese would do. Second brother, I dare to take responsibility for my actions. There's nothing I don't dare to do, and there's nothing I don't dare to admit. The matter at your hotel was indeed arranged by me." Yi Fala took a deep breath. Although she already knew that this matter was true when Su Yun told her the name, she still subconsciously hoped that Guan Peng would say no. Yi Fala understood Guan Peng. Guan Peng wouldn't lie. If he said no, it would make Yi Fala feel better. "Are you crazy? Don't you know that this kind of thing is very dangerous? What's the difference between this and a terrorist attack? You're taking human lives as a joke." Yi Fala said, "If the police find you..." "The police can't find me." Guan Peng directly interrupted Yi Fala's words. "This bomb wasn't obtained from the black market. They can't find any clues." Yi Fala snorted. "Indeed, it wasn't bought from the black market, but don't naively think that you're the only one in the world who knows about Sikong Yi." Guan Peng's eyebrows suddenly twisted. "How did you know? Do you think that I'm just randomly guessing?" so I guess that you did this? Yi Fala said, "Second brother, I'm not as smart as you think." Guan Peng's smile was somewhat cold. "It seems that Sikong Yi isn't trustworthy. He swore to my people that he wouldn't reveal this matter. But, I don't understand. I didn't show up from the beginning to the end. How did you find me? Did my people betray me?" "Second brother, although your people won't betray you, you should understand that there's no wall in the world that doesn't have a crack." Yi Fala said, "As long as you do it, others will know. This can never be stopped. Unless you kill him to silence him." Guan Peng nodded. "I do regret not killing Sikong Yi. Ha ha ha, but it doesn't matter. It's good that you know. I don't plan on hiding it from you for the rest of my life." "Why?" Yi Fala didn't understand. She didn't have any hatred or resentment towards Guan Peng. "Because I don't like the guy you like." After Guan Peng finished speaking, he sneered, "I sent someone to investigate him. He hid quite well. Su Yun. What a good Su Yun. Then you shouldn't have let people blow up the people in my hotel." Yi Fala was a little angry. "As far as I know, the injured ones are called RuanQingshuang and Chou Yun." Guan Peng didn't blame himself at all. Instead, he said it very casually, "Yi Zi, these two women are related to Su Yun, right? If you like that kid so much, I'm doing you a favor. What do you think?" Yi Fala helplessly shook her head. "I think you should see a psychiatrist. Guan Peng, if you have any opinions about me, just come at me. Don't bring disaster to others. You should know what I hate the most in my life." Guan Peng still didn't care. "Yi Zi, what do I have to do for you to understand me? That kid surnamed Su doesn't care about you. The one who really cares about you is me. Second brother, even I find it funny when I hear what you're saying." Yi Fala said, "If you still want us to be friends, then take back your stupid words. Don't do these stupid things in the future. I will think of a way to stop Su Yun from finding trouble with you. But if you don't realize your mistake. If I don't realize my mistake, can that kid cripple me?" Guan Peng sneered. "Yi Zi, you overestimate him and underestimate me." Yi Fala didn't want to waste time. "I've said so much. You're on your own. Yi Zi, since you've said so, I'm afraid I can't let you go." Guan Peng sighed. "It's not that I want to be rough with you. I want to see how that kid surnamed Su treats you. You're so affectionate and righteous to him. I'm sure you want to test it too, right?" "I'm not as senseless as you," Yi Fala said. "Second brother, you should know my strength. If you want to stop me, I'm afraid you'll need to put in some effort." Guan Peng smiled mysteriously. "Of course, I've already made preparations. I know that ordinary people can't stop you. So even though there's no boxing match today, all of my boxers are here." As soon as Guan Peng's voice fell, the underground boxers who had been lying on the seats around the arena all sat up. There were dozens of people, and there was no lack of new and old underground boxing champions. Because they were all lying down, Yi Fala couldn't see them at all. Now that so many people suddenly sat up and surrounded her, the shock was quite big. "Second brother, you've really perfectly explained to me what it means to be on guard against others," Yi Fala said indifferently. In fact, there was no need for so many people. The strength of the underground boxing champions was already very strong. They were completely confident in dealing with first-rate experts like her. Guan Peng gathered everyone because he wanted to show off his imposing manner. That kind of overwhelming momentum made him feel an indescribable carefree feeling in his heart. "I'm not guarding against you, Yi Zi," Guan Peng said. "I'm worried that the kid surnamed Su will come with you. I don't want others to show off their strength. I want to show off my strength even more. He. It's just that second brother didn't expect that guy to actually let you come alone. It seems that he still doesn't care about you. Second brother, because we have some friendship, I don't want to give you up," Yi Fala said. "I advise you to stop here and treat it as giving me face. Let's let this matter turn into a small matter and end it forever." Guan Peng shook his head, very slowly shaking his head. "This matter can never be turned into a small matter. It will only get bigger and bigger. Are you really crazy? Yi Fala's patience was almost exhausted. Guanpeng opened his eyes wide and said complacently, I really want to see what kind of expression that kid will have when he finds out that you've been captured. If he really treats you well, I'll accept it. I'm just afraid that he doesn't care about you at all. Now, second brother will test him for you. Guanpeng, what do you mean? Yi Fala's face revealed a hint of nervousness. What do you want to do? I'm just keeping you here as a guest. Guanpeng's smile was filled with evil. Yi Fala knew that she was in trouble. She definitely couldn't leave even if she wanted to, but she had to think of a way to inform Su Yun and not let Su Yun be fooled. Don't worry, you're a guest. I'll arrange for someone to inform the kid surnamed Su. Guanpeng said. If he cares about you, he'll definitely come to save you. If he doesn't, then you don't have to care about him anymore. Don't you think so? Chapter 985. Yi Fala's sudden disappearance happened at such a critical moment, so Su Yun naturally couldn't be at ease. When the phone couldn't be connected, Su Yun could at least find Qin Wan and try to find the location of the tracking device. After all, Yi Fala was still serving her sentence outside the prison, so the tracking device could accurately determine her location. However, what made Su Yun and Qin Wan unprepared was that before they could find someone to check, the police had already paid them a visit. They had lost contact with Yi Fala's tracking device for 8 hours. Because the police knew about Yi Fala's situation, they believed that she wouldn't cause trouble for them and wouldn't destroy the tracking device to escape. They came early in the morning to check if there was a problem with the device, so they didn't think that Yi Fala would be in Shinkai Hotel. Yi Fala's disappearance was definitely a big deal. Whether it was to the police or to Su Yun and the others, they were all caught off guard. If Yi Fala was found by the police after being missing for more than 48 hours, she would be suspected of trying to escape from prison. It might even affect her current situation. If she was sued, she might even go back to prison. Qin Wan frowned. Where could she go? Su Yun said seriously, we all know Yi Fala. She wouldn't do that kind of thing. Wan, you try to buy some time with the leader. I'll think of a way to find Yi Fala. She must have met with some trouble. She definitely wouldn't joke with us about her disappearance. Obviously, the structure of the third floor of Qin Tai Hotel was quite solid. Once the secret door was closed, it directly cut off any signal. Ruan Qingshuang was also quite anxious. There were so many troubles in the past few days. Other than the good news that Su Yun brought Guagua back, everything else they met with was so unsatisfactory. What did you say to Yi Fala yesterday? Can you find any clues? Ruan Qingshuang asked. Su Yun was startled. They only talked about the person called Guanpeng, but Yi Fala said that he was ignorant and had never heard of him. Could it be that Yi Fala was lying? Was she trying to hide something? Recalling Yefala's expression, Su Yun regretted his carelessness. Intuition told Su Yun that this matter had something to do with Guanpeng. No matter what reason Yi Fala had for lying, Su Yun was still very annoyed. He wasn't angry that Yi Fala had lied to him, but he was worried that Yi Fala would encounter some danger. If that happened, it would be really troublesome. I'll try my best to buy you some time. Qin Wan said, but you have to be quick. It would be best if you could find Yi Fala within 48 hours to avoid unnecessary trouble. Su Yun nodded, and Qin Wan left with the police officers. These words were simple to say, and it was also simple to agree to, but it was not simple at all to actually do it. Su Yun was completely at a loss. Where was he going to find him? So what if they knew that Yi Fala's disappearance was related to Guanpeng? Su Yun had no idea who Guanpeng was, where he was, his age, whether he was married or not. All he knew was his name. Brother, this matter is really not easy to deal with. Lin Guo also realized that this matter was troublesome because Si Kongye didn't know anything. He couldn't find a breakthrough point from him. Kevin Matthew shrugged helplessly. I really can't help with this matter. Brother Yun, I'm really sorry. Su Yun was embarrassed to accept these words. Kevin Matthew had already helped him a lot, Matthew, I know that you must have something to do in Huaxia, and you need my help. But when you arrived in Huaxia and saw that I was entangled in so many trivial matters, you were too embarrassed to ask. I'm really sorry. We're friends. Don't be so formal. Kevin Matthew said, I can't help with this matter, but don't be distracted by my matters. I will think of a way to deal with my matters. If I really need you, I will not hesitate to ask. Now is not the time to worry about me. Now was indeed not the time to worry about Kevin Matthew. To put it more seriously, it was unknown whether Yi Fala was dead or alive. Brother Yun. There was someone at the door who said that he wanted to see you. I asked him to come in, but he didn't want to. Dan Jiahao ran in front of everyone while panting. I said that if you don't go in, Brother Yun won't come out to see him. But he said that if you don't go out to see him, you will be the one who will regret it. It's related to a life. Regardless of whether that guy was exaggerating or not, I felt a little scared, so I came to say. Without listening to Dan Jiahao's words, Su Yun strode out of the hotel. His intuition told him that if someone came to look for him at this time, it definitely had something to do with Yi Fala's disappearance. That person didn't come in because he was worried that he would be captured and tortured. If there was something, he would say it at the door, so he could escape. Seeing Su Yun go out, Lin Guo followed closely behind. Everyone realized that something was wrong and wanted to follow. Ruan Qingxuang raised her hand to stop them. It's meaningless for all of you to go. If Su Yun needs help, he will naturally tell you. Everyone, be patient and wait. Don't add to Su Yun's troubles at this time. He should be annoyed enough. These words made sense. Everyone stopped in their tracks and waited for Su Yun to bring them news from afar. Su Yun and Lin Gu arrived at the hotel's entrance. In front of them was a 1.9 tall burly man who weighed 150 kilograms. His eyes lit up. You are Su Yun? You shouldn't be Guan Peng, right? Su Yun narrowed his eyes. If he angered Su Yun at this time, the consequences would be unimaginable. The burly man grinned. Who do you think second brother is? Who would casually come to see you? I'm here to pass a message on behalf of second brother. If you want to see Miss Yi, go to Qintai Hotel at 11 p.m. tonight. At that time, you will naturally see Miss Yi. Qintai Hotel? Su Yun knew that the second brother this guy was talking about was Guan Peng. He called Yi Fala Miss Yi. Obviously, he still had a certain amount of respect for Yi Fala. Yi Fala and Guan Peng must have some friendship. Don't worry, Miss Yi is fine now. The burly man didn't wait for Su Yun to speak and continued, but if you want Miss Yi to come back, you have to talk to my second brother. Otherwise, go back and tell Guan Peng that I will be there on time. Su Yun didn't continue to listen to his nonsense. There is no medicine for regret in this world. Even if I hurt a strand of Yi Fala's hair, I will make him pay it back 10-fold, 100-fold. Straightforward person. The burly man sneered. Looking at Su Yun's frail and weak body, he said with disdain, however, if you want to touch second brother, I'm afraid it won't be that easy. Ha 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 ha, I'll wait for you tonight. Remember to be punctual. Otherwise, no one knows what will happen. Su Yun clenched his fists until his veins were about to explode. He wanted to ruthlessly punch this blockhead's face, but in the end, he restrained himself. Whatever old and new grudges, Su Yun would settle them all at night. There's one more thing. Only you are allowed to come. If there is anyone else, second brother won't see you. After the burly man finished speaking, he deliberately glanced at Lin Gu. Lin Gu spat on the ground and scolded, "Coward." Chapter 986. Lin Gu clenched his teeth so hard that they were about to shatter as he watched the car disappear into the distance. Brother, we shouldn't have let that bastard go back. We should have taught him a lesson and shown him who's boss. Let them be so arrogant again. Pigeon, can you tell what this person does? Su Yun's gaze never left the car that was leaving. Lin Gu was startled for a moment and scratched his head. Sikong Yi said that they're in the fitness industry. I think that makes some sense. With such a big body, they should be in the fitness industry. Those in the fitness industry wouldn't do this kind of thing. There's a group of people like them who need high-intensity body training every day, but they're not fitness trainers. Su Yun took a deep breath. Underground fighters. They don't pay attention to chi cultivation or mental state improvement. They only pay attention to martial strength and fists. Underground fighters. Lin Gu suddenly realized. That's right, why didn't he think of it? Although this group of people were never called experts, if they were strong and reached the peak of martial strength, they definitely wouldn't be weaker than experts who cultivated mental state. They might even be stronger than experts who cultivated mental state. Dual cultivation of mental state and martial strength was called the right path for experts. Underground fighters who only cultivated martial strength were always looked down upon. This was why the underground fighters were often ignored by the underground world. Even people like Guan Pang weren't famous in the underground world. Su Yun could finally explain why he felt that he had heard of Guan Peng's name before but didn't have any impression of it. Underground fighters were always like this. People couldn't remember them and habitually ignored their existence. Brother, if that's the case, we definitely can't let you go alone at night. Lin Gu reacted and decisively put forward his idea. If they have a lot of people, it really won't be easy to deal with them. Su Yun obviously knew this simple logic. Apart from this, do we have any other methods? They said that they want me to go alone. If I don't keep my word, they might also be untrustworthy. I won't take the risk before I'm sure Yi Fala is safe. Even if I don't go with you, at least I have to be nearby. If anything happens, we can contact each other immediately, Lin Gu said. If I'm not wrong, Chin Tai Hotel must have a very good sealed space for the competition. Su Yun, if it was so easy to contact him, I'm afraid that the locator on Yi Fala's ankle would have been found by the police long ago. It was too dangerous to do this alone, but Su Yun had already made up his mind. Lin Gu couldn't change anything. Don't mention this to Sister Shuang and the others for now. There's no point in letting too many people know. It will only increase the worry of one more person. Su Yun, don't worry, I will be careful. Those underground fighters are able to control Yi Fala, so they are naturally not weak. I will treat them with caution. But don't forget, if you only cultivate martial arts without cultivating your mental state, you won't be a match for dual cultivation. I'm not that easy to deal with. These words were true. Su Yun was definitely not that easy to deal with. A 5th-level master of the Grandmaster realm, if he wanted to deal with Su Yun with just martial arts, unless his martial arts were 2 levels higher than Su Yun's, it would be very difficult to hurt Su Yun without the use of internal force. Brother, then you must be careful, Lin Gu said. Don't worry, I'll be here at the hotel. I won't let anyone hurt anyone. Su Yun smiled slightly. Although it was better to be careful, Su Yun believed that the hotel wouldn't be in any danger. He had already realized a problem. The other party's spearhead was pointed at him, not the hotel, not Yi Fala, and not Ruan Qingshuang or Chou Yun. It was him. Kevin Matthew wanted to help Su Yun deal with the problem before he went to do his own thing. However, he couldn't help at all now. Staying here would make Su Yun feel inconvenient, so it was better for him to leave first. When Su Yun heard Kevin Matthew ask this question, he knew that Kevin Matthew had asked it after careful consideration. Since that was the case, he didn't pretend to be polite and directly arranged a glorious and difficult task for Chong. As long as Kevin Matthew was in Huaxia, Chong had to do a good job of receiving him. Chong naturally obeyed the order to be a good driver. Kevin Matthew felt that this was quite troublesome for Chong. However, he also considered that if he didn't let Su Yun do something, Su Yun would feel that he owed him. Moreover, he saw that Chong was extremely enthusiastic and wasn't pretending. He sincerely treated him, a guest from afar, so he agreed readily. This made Su Yun feel relieved. Although Chong wasn't a professional driver, he was born and raised in Huaxia. He was definitely more familiar with the roads in Huaxia than Kevin Matthew. Moreover, he could adapt to the traffic jams better. Kevin Matthew was going to Yanjing. This kind of place needed a Huaxia person to be a driver. Otherwise, Kevin Matthew, who was used to the smooth traffic, would definitely break down when he arrived in Yanjing. That place could let you see that a 20-lane wide road could still be blocked for 1 or 2 hours without any discussion. Kevin Matthew was going to visit an old friend of his father's. This relationship was very important to him, so he didn't want to waste too much time. This was because he had already received news from some of his friends that this old friend of his father's might not have many days left. If Kevin Matthew went a day later, he wouldn't be able to see him for the last time. Those questions from his father would really rot in his stomach. After this matter was decided, Kevin Matthew immediately left. He acted decisively and swiftly. Su Yun could only wish him a safe journey. He hoped that he could settle Yi Fala's matter as soon as possible so that he could help Kevin Matthew as soon as possible. On that day, other than Kevin Matthew leaving, Ruan Qingshuang and Chou Yun also left Shenzhen with Guagua. Of course, this was also Su Yun's intention. Su Yun still couldn't determine what Guan Peng's intentions were. It was better to let Ruan Qingshuang and Chou Yun bring Guagua to Ji Bei. At least Guan Peng could arrange everything properly in Ji Bei. Su Yun wouldn't have to worry about them. If it was in the past, Ruan Qingshuang would definitely disagree. However, it was different now. She firmly believed that since Su Yun had decided, he must have his reasons. If she stayed, not only would she not be of help, but she would also distract Lin Ge from taking care of them. If she brought Guagua further away, at least Lin Ge could focus on helping Su Yun. Although Su Yun had already decided to go alone, Lin Ge lurking around Qintai Hotel was better than staying in Xingkai to protect them. "Oh right, Pigeon, where's your little girlfriend, Fangya? Do you want her to come with us to Ji Bei to rest for a few days?" Ruan Qingshuang suddenly asked. On the day Ruan Qingshuang was discharged from the hospital, Fangya just had her turn to rest. After learning about the situation from Lin Ge, she came to see her. Lin Ge understood Ruan Qingshuang's meaning. She was also afraid that Fangya would become a bargaining chip for the enemy. She hoped to keep Fangya away from danger. This way, Lin Ge wouldn't be distracted. Lin Ge was so grateful that he was about to cry. He also hoped that Fangya could integrate into their social circle, so he contacted Fangya. Fangya was very excited about this invitation because she knew very well what kind of person Ruan Qingshuang was. Fangya could read Lin Ji's respect for this sister-in-law from his eyes. Ruan Qingshuang invited her, which meant that she treated her as one of her own. How could Fangya not be excited? Chapter 987. 200 meters away from the Qintai Hotel, Lin Ji's gaze never left Su Yun's figure. This was already within the observation range of the Qintai Hotel. Su Yun didn't want to complicate matters, so Lin Ge could only wait here obediently. Unless there was a special situation, he could only wait and see. Just as Su Yun approached the Qintai Hotel, 2 tall and sturdy fellows walked towards him. Su Yun recognized that one of them was the man who sent him the invitation today. "Boss Su is really punctual. You're not even a minute late." The corner of the tall and sturdy man's mouth raised. That kind of condescending aura was completely different from before because Su Yun was now in their territory. If Su Yun dared to cause any trouble, then he wouldn't be afraid. Just a greeting could exchange for more than 10 brothers. Cut the crap. Where's Yi Fala? Su Yun didn't have the time to talk nonsense with them. The tall and sturdy man extended his hand and made an inviting gesture. "Please. Second brother is also a punctual person. I've been waiting for you for a long time. There's something I want to remind you. Once you enter, you have to behave. As the saying goes, nothing can be accomplished without rules. If you don't follow the rules, then don't blame us brothers for being ruthless." He started to threaten before he even entered the door. Su Yun coldly snorted. It seemed like this second brother wanted to show off his power from the beginning. Su Yun didn't care what kind of scheme you had. He would definitely accompany you to the end. If you want to play, then I'll accompany you to play. Whoever admits defeat is a grandson. You have your rules. I have my bottom line. Su Yun coldly sneered. You better tell your brothers that if they touch my bottom line, then don't blame me for being impolite. Okay. Then we'll see. When the tall and sturdy man heard Su Yun's threat, he was naturally unhappy. He was obviously only one person, yet he was so domineering and arrogant. What qualifications did he have? The route was completely out of Su Yun's expectations. They came to a corner of the hotel's underground parking lot. After entering the inconspicuous elevator, they could actually go down one floor. Su Yun was startled for a moment. Only then did he understand that the underground boxing competition was actually arranged in such a secretive place. With a ding-dong sound, the elevator door slowly opened. Su Yun walked out of the elevator under the lead of the two tall and sturdy men, followed by a long corridor. There was a door at the end of the corridor. Su Yun knew that was his destination. Since we've arrived, we won't be sending you off. The burly man behind Su Yun sneered. Second brother is waiting for you in front. Su Yun was too lazy to talk nonsense. He directly strode forward. This second brother was really pretentious. Wasn't it just an appointment to have a showdown and negotiation? Why did he have to make so much fuss? Even if he was shooting a movie, he didn't need to be so indecisive. A black shadow suddenly blocked Su Yun's path. The tall and sturdy man standing at the front of the corridor had a provocative look on his face. Excuse me. Su Yun didn't want to dirty his hands at the beginning. Didn't you see that my shoelaces are untied? I'm afraid it's not convenient to walk. If you want me to move aside, sure. Help me tie my shoelaces and I'll move aside. Such a straightforward provocation was simply looking down on Su Yun's IQ. Su Yun suppressed his anger several times, but in the end, he couldn't bear it anymore. It wasn't that he didn't want to dirty his hands. A fist as fast as lightning tore through the quiet air. The tall and sturdy man who hadn't even tied his shoelaces was sent flying by Su Yun's punch. Since the other party wanted to show him who was the boss, Su Yun didn't have to hesitate. Counterattack. Therefore, Su Yun used all his strength in this punch. As a black boxer, his body's resistance to attacks was naturally very strong. Even if he used all his strength, as long as Su Yun didn't activate his internal force, he wouldn't be able to kill him. The huge body of 300 Jin shot through the corridor like a cannonball. With a bang, it smashed through the door at the end of the corridor. The few tall and sturdy men who were still standing in the corridor were dumbfounded. They didn't expect Su Yun to have such overwhelming strength. They weren't his match at all. Frantic shouts and screams could be heard from behind the door. Su Yun's brows instantly furrowed. Through the door, he could see the flickering lights of the spectator stands, as well as the center of the battle stage that was the center of attention. The entire circular stage was surrounded by thick steel bars. Inside, there was a short-haired muscular man in black shorts who was frantically beating his chest and roaring. If you want to see second brother, then you have to defeat today's champion, Feng Lei Long. As he spoke, the two tall and sturdy men behind Su Yun pressed some unknown mechanism. A thick iron wall fell down behind Su Yun. There was no way back now. There was only one path forward. This was the path to the stage. The people who wanted to show Su Yun who was the boss in the corridor all carefully retreated. They had already learned their lesson. If they continued, they would be fools. Obviously, they didn't want to be fools. The guy who was sent flying by Su Yun broke through the door and fell directly into the stage. He was already dizzy from the fall. But Feng Lei Long didn't care if he was still breathing. He directly bent down and picked him up. His arms were raised above his head, and he suddenly threw him high up. Just as everyone was wondering what he was going to do, Feng Lei Long had already jumped up. His knee mercilessly hit the poor guy who was abandoned. With a hair-raising cracking sound, that poor guy's entire body was broken in an inconceivable manner. His lumbar spine was probably crippled. The fate of underground fighters was cruel. The weak were prey to the strong. Every year, countless weak people were tortured to death in this way, innumerable. But those who liked underground fighting didn't think so. Seeing such a bloody and cruel scene, the audience in the stands cheered even louder. That's right, they came here to see Fong Leilong torture those useless guys. This local underground boxer, who was called Shen Jiang Bulldog by the underground boxing world, was the pride of the audience. They liked to see him defeat his opponents. They liked to bet on his victory because they knew that Fong Leilong didn't like to disappoint his supporters. Fong Leilong hadn't fought in Shenzhen for a long time. He was arranged by his second brother to fight outside. But today was different. Today was his home ground. He had to defend it. Ladies and gentlemen. The host held the microphone and started. Today, we will arrange a wonderful challenge for everyone. The champion is still our favorite, Shenzhen Bulldog, Fong Leilong. The challenger is Su Yun. Let's place our bets now. Fong Leilong's odds are 1-1. Su Yun's odds are 500. F***CK. Su Yun really wanted to spit on him. Looking down on me? 1-500. F***CK. Is my chance of winning that low? Su Yun, if you want to see Fala, then win this match. A sentence came from the top of his head. Su Yun looked up. It was a loudspeaker. He didn't know if the person who spoke was his second brother, Guan Pang. But Su Yun knew that since he was here, he couldn't retreat. Chapter 988. The monitor on the stage showed the amount of bets placed. Su Yun and Fong Leilong's names had a yellow bar above them. The more people who placed their bets, the longer the bar would be. Every spectator had an electronic betting machine and swiped their card. The betting here was quite high-tech. In just a few minutes, the yellow bar under Fong Leilong's name was filled with bets. The number displayed on the screen was still increasing. Thousands of spectators had participated in the bet. In just a few short minutes, the bet had reached more than 1 billion. On average, everyone's bets were as high as 1 million. Those who bet on underground fights were indeed rich. What was embarrassing was that the yellow bar above Su Yun's name was not even a millimeter long. The number was also a duck egg. This kind of disparity in bets was definitely one of a kind in the world. No one was optimistic about Su Yun. The difference between him and Fong Fuilong was not only the name of the underground boxing world, but also the figure. Anyway, as long as it was a normal person, they would not believe that Su Yun could win. If the fight ended and Fong Leilong won, wouldn't Guan Peng lose his pants? Even if the odds were 1-1, he would still lose more than 1 billion. This was not a small number. Unless he had arranged for Fong Leilong to fake the fight and let Su Yun win, then he would win. No, that's not right. That's impossible. Su Yun isn't their pawn. Guan Peng could not be that crazy, right? Would he just let it happen? It did not matter even if he lost. Su Yun took a deep breath. Guan Peng probably did not care. If Fong Leilong could beat Su Yun to death, it would not matter even if he lost 1 billion. He would just find a way to fake a few fights to win it back. These days, even the World Cup could be manipulated, let alone underground fights. It was normal to manipulate people behind the scenes. If Su Yun really beat Fong Leilong, it meant that he had earned 1 billion for Guan Peng. Damn, Su Yun was not willing to accept this. He did not even have to pay a single cent to come here. Then Fong Leilong should be able to earn at least 1 million in a single match, right? Damn that Guan Peng. He was really scheming. Killing many birds with one stone. The noisy crowd was waiting for Su Yun to come out and be killed by Fong Fuyo as soon as possible. This was the only way to ensure that they would be able to get their money back. No one placed a bet on Su Yun, so when Su Yun walked out, he was greeted with boos. After a long period of earth-shattering boos, Su Yun finally understood why people in sports competitions wanted to have the home field advantage. The away audience was really too nasty. The boos and curses almost provoked Su Yun to jump directly into the stands and give these people a good beating. Finally, Su Yun walked into the thick cage. With a bang, the cage closed. Su Yun and Fong Leilong were like two trapped beasts. Once again, The audience erupted into thunderous cheers. Quiet down. Suddenly, a voice came from the microphone. Next, let's invite Brother Guan to speak to us. Everyone, let's welcome him. Guan Peng's reputation here was definitely enough. With just one sentence, the entire audience burst into applause. Not a single person was not sincere. Cough. Guan Peng cleared his throat. The audience instantly quieted down. Then, he slowly said, I've told everyone before that today, I'll bring everyone a match with a great disparity in strength. Since everyone has bet on our Shenzhong Bulldog's victory, if something unexpected happens, there will definitely be people who will accuse me of manipulating things behind the scenes. After a pause, he continued, Therefore, I've decided that the victory of this match must end with the death of one of the two. That way, no one will have any objections. The audience erupted again. However, Feng Leilong was not as excited in the cage. He suddenly realized that something was wrong. All the bets were on him. It seemed that his opponent had no chance of winning. But the more it was like this, the more Feng Leilong felt that something was wrong. As soon as Guan Peng finished speaking, the bet went from 1 billion to 2 billion. The huge profit and compensation of this match was astronomical. Guan Peng was not a saint. He would not easily pay out so much money. Feng Leilong was nervous. Could it be that Guan Peng wanted to use him to make money? But there was no need to end it with a death match. Brother, do you think Guan Peng will be happy if you win and make him pay so much money? Su Yun let out a long sigh and whispered to Feng Leilong, Can't you see that he's using you to make a fortune? Cut the crap. Even if that's the case, I have to protect my life. Feng Leilong sneered. The more unfavorable the situation was, the more he had to calm down. Even if second brother wants to use me to make money, he has to find someone who can defeat me. With just you, I'm afraid it won't be easy for him to make so much money. Su Yun nodded. That's true. I really don't want him to make so much money. Why don't we have a private conversation now? Feng Leilong was stunned. You pretend to kill me and I'll pretend to be dead in the ring. Su Yun said, Not only can we save your life, we can also make Guan Peng pay a heavy price. Feng Leilong's eyes widened. Are you crazy? I don't have time to play house with you. It's not like I don't have the ability to kill you. Why should I waste my time with you? You really don't know what's good for you. I'm just being nice. Su Yun, if you think you have the ability, then come and try. Clang, clang, clang. A long-legged beauty in a white bikini walked around the steel cage of the boxing ring, holding a sign with the number 1 printed on it. The crazy audience below the stage began to roar at the top of their lungs. Everyone was cheering for Feng Leilong and their Shenzhong Bulldog. Feng Leilong roared. He believed that second brother would definitely tell him if it was done under the table. But this time, he didn't say anything. He just told him to fight well. This meant that he needed to win the match. He had to kill this little bastard. Feng Leilong's huge body pounced on Su Yun like a crazy brown bear. Although Su Yun was smaller than Feng Leilong, he had the advantage in his footwork. He was much more agile than Feng Leilong. Feng Leilong was furious when he didn't succeed. He hit his chest again to regain his composure. He wanted to end the match quickly. Once he used up too much energy, it wouldn't be easy to deal with his opponent. Su Yun knew that no matter how much he warned them, it would be useless. He might as well have a proper fight to wake them up from their dark martial arts. He wanted to let them know that a mere martial arts cultivator would not be able to stop them who cultivated their mental states. In the blink of an eye, Su Yun struck Feng Fuyolong's lower abdomen with lightning speed. The moment Feng Fuyolong bent over in pain, Su Yun leaped up and chopped at the back of Feng Fuyolong's neck. If Feng Leilong's muscles hadn't been petrified, this chop would have knocked him out. Although Feng Fuyo could still hold on, the pain was unbearable. He wanted to fight back, but Su Yun did not give him the chance. Su Yun followed up with 3 kicks, sending Feng Fuyo back a few meters. Feng Fuyo only stopped when he crashed into the iron cage. After a few moves, Feng Leilong didn't gain any advantage. On the other hand, Su Yun was playing with ease. Chapter 989. Dang 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 dang. The bell signaling the end of the first round rang. The two walked to the opposite corner of the ring under the referee's guidance. Feng Fuyo had never felt so difficult before. It had only been one round, but he had used up most of his energy. The sweat on his forehead slid down the corners of his eyes and dripped onto the boxing ring beneath his feet. In this ring, he, Feng Fulong, held the record of all wins. He was known as the Shenzhong Bulldog for a reason. In this ring of Chin Tai Hotel, there was no fighter who wasn't afraid of him biting. Bulldogs had been used in bloody bullfights since the middle of the 12th century. Feng Leilong's nickname explained everything. He had become an underground boxer at the age of 12. He had participated in hundreds of fights, big and small. In Shenzhong City, he had never admitted defeat to anyone. Even if he had to risk his life, Feng Fulong would never let the guy sitting in front of him leave the ring. He wanted everyone to know that they would still support him as always. No matter how bad the situation was, the final winner would still be him. He vowed to protect his Shenzhong winning streak. Guanpeng didn't lack strong fighters, but no one had fought in Shenzhong as many fights as Feng Fulong. Maybe there were people who were stronger than Feng Fulong. But Feng Fulong was like a spiritual pillar in Shenzhong's underground boxing world. As long as the people in Shenzhong saw him on the ring, they would never think that he would lose. The frenzied cheers and shouts incessantly stimulated Feng Fulong's adrenaline. As soon as the bell rang for the second round, and before the scantily clad girls could even complete a lap around the ring, Feng Fulong jumped up with a whoosh. Underground boxing wasn't the same as serious boxing. There was no coach to guide them. They couldn't become a beautiful girl like Boxing King Zhou and play a guest role in Transformation 4. The choice of an underground fighter was simple. Either win the fight and get more money and the boss trust, lose and be spurned by the boss, or die. Su Yun licked his lips. The girl holding the sign was so beautiful and her figure was so enchanting. Of all the things she could do, she just had to be a beauty embellishment in such a barbaric and bloody place. What a waste. Of course, if Su Yun knew how much money he could earn from this event, he would definitely not think that way. How could an ordinary woman do such a job? Second round. Begin. Following the referee's order, Feng Fuyo, who had just recovered some of his strength, once again charged towards Su Yun. This time, Su Yun did not dodge. Instead, he received Feng Fuyolong's powerful punch with a single palm. Borrowing the strength of Fuyolong's force, Su Yun used his own strength to restrain Feng Fuyolong. Feng Fuyolong's huge body was thrown onto the cage with a loud clang. The entire place became silent again. Feng Fuyo roared angrily. His hands almost bent the iron cage. He roared angrily and pounced on Su Yun again. Su Yun's feet seemed to be rooted to the ground. He had no intention of dodging at all. His firm footwork and sudden movements made everyone nervous. Just as Feng Fuyo was about to pounce on Su Yun turned his footwork forward into a horse stance. Then, he used the strength of the horse stance to punch from the bottom up. His fists were extremely fast, and his knuckles were aimed at Feng Fuyo's heart. In literature, there was Taiji to calm the world. In martial arts, there was Baji to stabilize the universe. Su Yun's moves were simple and straightforward. The heavenly standing cannon sent Feng Fuyo's body, which weighed more than 150 kilograms, flying several meters away. This time, the impact even bent the cage that restrained the boxing ring. Feng Fuyo, who had landed heavily on the ground, struggled to get up. However, the pain in his heart made it difficult for him to support his body. He spat out a mouthful of blood when he tried to get up. The weakest part of a black boxer's body was obviously the heart meridian, which was the weakest part of his body. Once their strong muscles were unable to resist the attack of external forces, they would be in extreme pain. Su Yun did not follow up with another attack. He only needed to step forward and punch Feng Fuyo. He was afraid that Feng Fuyo would not be able to hold on. Compared to the bright boxing ring, the stands were dark. In the darkness, Guan Peng's lips curled up slightly. He thought that this kid with the surname Su was not simple. Speaking of Feng Fuyo, although he was not the most valued fighter under him, Guan Peng trusted his strength. Even the top fighters in the underground world would not be able to gain any advantage over Feng Fuyo. But now, Feng Lei Long couldn't even gain the slightest advantage in front of Su Yun. This brat was really not simple. No wonder even Yi Fala's heart was captured by him. Kill, 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 kill. It was unknown who led the crowd, but they all shouted at the same time. Perhaps everyone was aware of a problem. It was impossible for Feng Fuyo to win. They had lost all their money because of him. This was the most realistic problem. The anger made people forget that Feng Fuyo was the pride of Shenzhong's underground fighters. It made them forget that this guy had the nickname Shenzhong Bulldog. At this moment, Feng Fuyo was like an abandoned dog. No one would pity him, no one would pity him. Everyone would only be angry and crazy because he had caused them to lose so much money. Perhaps, at this moment, only his death could calm the emotions of these people who had lost all their money. This feeling of abandoning a fallen tree made Feng Fulong understand a truth. A local underground boxer had to have value to be used. Once he lost his value, no one would treat him as a human. At this moment, he had an impulse to kill all these sanctimonious hypocrites in the stands. He had even forgotten that many times, the opponents he faced would also be shouted, "Kill," by the people in the stands. And he had never been lenient because of this. It was just that this time, his position was reversed. But he didn't want to die. He hadn't been able to enjoy life. He had spent all his time training and competing. He hadn't had time to experience other things. Listen to me if you don't want to die. A soft voice floated into Feng Fuyo's ears. Feng Fuyo quickly raised his head. Standing in front of him was Su Yun. Was this guy not going to kill him? But before this, he had wanted Su Yun to die. If he, Feng Fulong, won't be merciful enough to let Su Yun go. Did you hear that? Squeak if you heard it. Don't play dead, Su Yun said again. Feng Fuyo didn't want to die. He had everything as long as he was alive. Of course I don't want to die. As long as you don't kill me, I'll do whatever you want. How many fighters like you are here? Su Yun added, those who are stronger than you, don't count those who are weaker than you. This isn't the time to be arrogant. You better tell the truth. Feng Fuyo gritted his teeth and thought, the four great warriors. Su Yun nodded. Know yourself and know your enemy, and you'll never be defeated. He had a rough idea. When the fight started, he would know what to do. It seems like your second brother didn't plan to let you live from the beginning. Otherwise, he wouldn't have arranged for you to fight. It was impossible for Feng Fuyo to say that he didn't hate Guan Peng. Of course, he hated Guan Peng because he knew Feng Fuyo's position in Shenzhong. As long as he was in the ring, everyone would bet on him to win. That way, Guan Peng could use his death to maximize his benefits. Chapter 990. Underground boxers definitely overloaded their bodies with training. Therefore, anyone who fought underground boxers would always have their muscles and bones deteriorate earlier than normal people. This was because they overdraft too much in advance, which led to this situation. This meant that the retirement age of underground boxers was much earlier than normal people. Generally speaking, no underground boxers could retire with glory. They would die 3 to 5 years after the age of 35. Basically, it was all arranged by the boss. He would use the last of their remaining fame to maximize the benefits and then abandon them. Feng Fulong knew that he couldn't avoid it, but he didn't expect it to come so early. Also, he thought that his second brother would treat him differently from the other boxers. After all, he wasn't just a hero, he was also one of Guan Peng's most trusted people. Now, Feng Fulong understood that no one was a general that Guan Peng couldn't abandon. They were just pawns. Those who could fight were just carriages, horses, and cannons. Those who were trusted were fortune tellers. They were all there to protect their generals and were ready to be abandoned at any time. In their eyes, I'm already a dead man. I don't care if I die again. Feng Fulong said coldly, if you want me to do anything, just tell me. I, Feng Fulong, can make a friend like you before I die. It's worth it. Brother, you're really broad-minded. I've never seen someone like you in my life. If you don't mind, you can be friends with someone like me who's about to die. If you treat me as a friend, then don't be so courteous. If you want to live, then stop those small shrimps for me. Su Yun said, even though you took a punch from me, you can still do this, right? As for Guan Peng and the other people you can't beat, just leave them to me. If they want to play, then I'll play with them. Feng Fulong faced the thunderous shouts of, kill, kill. He abruptly stood up, the veins on his arms bulging as he fiercely gripped the iron cage of the boxing ring. Under his sudden exertion of strength, the iron cage that was as thick as a thumb was forcefully pulled into an arc. Everyone watched in horror as Feng Fulong stepped out of the cage. In the stands, Guan Peng narrowed his eyes and sneered. He thought that Su Yun's ability wasn't small. He even managed to buy Feng Leilong's heart. Humph, 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 humph. It's time to play. Let's see who will be the final winner. Steel arms, iron fist, flowery knights, bloodthirsty. Today, it's up to you. Guan Peng gave the order, and the 4 people sitting behind him stood up one after another. These were the 4 people that Guan Peng trusted the most. They were his heavy blows. These 4 people naturally wouldn't participate in any underground boxing matches. To them, these things had long since lost their interest. Although Feng Fuyo was the best boxer under Guan Peng, he knew very well that he was no match for any of the 4 people. Just as Feng Fuyo walked out of the stage, a silver shadow flashed by, and a whip kick was aimed at Feng Fuyo's face. It was too fast for Feng Fulong to dodge. There was only one person here who had such a swift and ferocious leg technique, and that was Hua Lang. Just as the kick was about to overturn Feng Fuyo, it stopped abruptly. Hua Lang's ankle was tightly gripped by Su Yun's big hand like an iron clamp. Hua Lang was most confident in his leg technique. The whip kick just now was so fast that even he couldn't see his own leg technique clearly, and yet it was caught by this person in front of him. Of course, he couldn't believe what was happening in front of him. Leave this to me, you go do what you need to do. Su Yun's lips curled up, and he smiled at Feng Fuyo. Then, he stared at Hua Lang with a provocative gaze. Hua Lang had always been arrogant and domineering. In this life, other than bowing his head in front of Guan Peng, he didn't give face to anyone else. Now, this young man in front of him was looking down on him. Hua Lang originally hated people who thought of themselves as experts who cultivated their mental state, and he had killed many of these so-called experts. Now that there was an opportunity, Hua Lang certainly wouldn't miss it. He wanted to show Su Yun what a real underground boxer was like. The strength of a real underground boxer was definitely not worse than the super experts who cultivated their mental state. But Hua Lang was wrong. He underestimated Su Yun. The most powerful expert he had ever encountered was only at the level of a super expert, and Su Yun was a master of the Grandmaster realm. A master of the Grandmaster realm was a whole level higher than a super expert. Hua Lang's lightning-fast legs were all easily dodged by Su Yun. Steel Hands quickly understood that Hua Lang was not his opponent at all. Steel Hands, who didn't like to bully with numbers, didn't waste time and quickly joined the battle. But a few consecutive palms still didn't hit Su Yun's vital points. I don't need your help. Hua Lang's self-esteem was seriously provoked, and he roared with his eyes wide open. I don't have time to waste on you now. While speaking, Iron Fist also came to Hua Lang's side. You can't win alone. Second brother doesn't have the patience to wait. Let's work together to solve this problem as soon as possible. Although Hua Lang also understood this truth, when Iron Fist and Steel Hands pounced on Su Yun, he still didn't follow. This kind of unfair victory made him lose face. And the audience in the stands hadn't left yet. Everyone was watching this sudden situation with their eyes wide open. Everyone in Guan Peng's boxing field knew that if he didn't open the door, no one could leave, and no one could come in. So even if there was an unforeseen event, the scene was still quiet and orderly. No one tried to leave in a panic. Instead, they were all excited to watch this scuffle as a performance. If I had known earlier, today's ticket price would have been 100 times higher. Guan Peng lit a cigar and said to Bloodthirsty, who didn't participate in the battle behind him, "Why? Don't you want to go up and play? Are you so assured about your 3 brothers?" Bloodthirsty's face was completely expressionless. He just nodded silently. Of course, he was assured, very assured. Iron Fist and Steel Hands had never failed when working together. In addition, they also had Hua Lang to help them. This combination made Bloodthirsty completely unable to find a reason to lose. Since they wouldn't lose, he naturally wouldn't make a move. Just when Bloodthirsty was confident that he didn't need to make a move, Steel Hands screamed. His right wrist was broken in an inconceivable way. He could only retreat after suffering such a heavy blow. Until then, Hua Lang suddenly realized. He didn't care about his self-esteem and quickly stepped forward to replace Steel Hand's position. Iron Fist didn't expect Su Yun's strength to be so strong. Only when they fought did they realize that they couldn't accurately position Su Yun before, which led to Steel Hand's accidental injury. Steel Hands relied on his right palm to dominate the underground boxing world. Now that his right arm was broken by Su Yun, it was equivalent to breaking Lu Bu's Sky Piercer and kicking away Zhang Fei's Serpent Spear. Steel Hands had almost lost all of his combat power in this high-intensity confrontation. Su Yun wasn't as gentle as before. When he fought with Feng Lei Long just now, he was just warming up a little. But Guan Peng's 4 King Kongs had come out to join forces. If he still went easy, he was afraid that he would be the unlucky one. Su Yun knew this very well, so he attacked ruthlessly. Hit the snake at its weakest point. After breaking Steel Hand's forearm, the next step was to deal with Hua Lang's left leg. Although Hua Lang's moves were somewhat fancy and impractical, it had to be said that the deterrent force of his left leg was quite great. At least, Su Yun didn't want to take the risk of being kicked. If he was kicked in the face, it would be 100% disfigurement. Chapter 991. In the blink of an eye, Hua Lang's kick came again. This time, Su Yun did not plan to let him go so easily. He first dodged the Iron Fist attack, then he launched 3 consecutive heavy punches. Each of his punches landed heavily on Hua Lang's kneecaps. What a good move, King of Hell's 3-points hand. Hua Lang screamed and fell to the ground with his hands hugging his knees. Taking advantage of this, Iron Fist's thunderous strike landed on Su Yun's heart. This time, Su Yun didn't have time to dodge. Even so, Su Yun wouldn't let his opponent have an easy time. Just as Iron Fist's fist landed on Su Yun's chest, Su Yun's sun facing wind palm also landed on Iron Fist's chest. Su Yun took a step back and used his internal energy to suppress his heart meridian so that it wouldn't be damaged. Iron Fist's body was like a kite with a broken string as he was sent flying by Su Yun's palm. Su Yun didn't follow the usual rules when dealing with underground fighters who only practiced martial arts and didn't cultivate their minds. Whether it was Tai Chi or level 8, he either used softness to overcome hardness or violence to curb violence. As for the result, it was naturally excellent. Hua Lang with a broken leg and steel arms with a broken arm had lost their biggest advantage in battle. Iron Fist spat out mouthfuls of blood due to the shock to his heart meridian. His legs couldn't support his body anymore. Feng Lei Long's defeat was within Guan Peng's expectations, so he wasn't nervous at all. But now, Steel Arms, Hua Lang, and Iron Fist were all heavily injured by Su Yun. Guan Peng, who was always calm, finally couldn't help but frown. His fingers gripped the armrest of his chair. His eyes were cold and filled with killing intent. Second brother, I'm afraid this has proven that I didn't overestimate Su Yun. You underestimated his strength. Bloodthirsty said indifferently, I'm afraid his strength has already surpassed the realm of super experts. At least, I'm not his opponent. You. Guan Peng was stunned. He thought that Bloodthirsty didn't make a move because he was confident in the other 3. He didn't expect this guy to think that he couldn't win, so he didn't make a move at all. This was the only way to ensure that he could escape unscathed and not suffer such heavy injuries like the other three. It was an eye-opener for the people in the stands. At this moment, they had even forgotten what had happened before. Some of them had already become Su Yun's fans. They began to clamor that they would bet 10 million on Su Yun to win. Su Yun had already dealt with 3 of the 4 great guardian deities. He originally thought that the remaining one would be the most difficult to deal with, but he didn't expect that the remaining one didn't even need to be dealt with. He didn't even have the intention to go up. On the other side, Feng Fulong was also very successful. Although he was punched by Su Yun, as the saying goes, a starving camel is still bigger than a horse. No one wanted to take the risk to attack Feng Fulong. Besides, Feng Fulong's status here was higher than these guys in front of him. The underground boxing world had a strict hierarchy for a long time, so they didn't dare to act rashly towards Feng Fulong. Seeing that the situation was starting to become one-sided, Guan Peng could no longer sit still. He laughed and clapped his hands while ordering people to turn on the lights of the entire underground boxing arena. The originally dim scene suddenly became brightly lit. The noisy people also quieted down. Although there were many people in the audience who often came to watch boxing gambling, no one had seen the scene of the entire arena being turned on. Naturally, people couldn't help but look up out of curiosity. It didn't matter if they looked up. Above everyone's head, there was a sharp knife shining with silver light. It seemed that it would fall down at any time. The noisy crowd quieted down. They all quieted down because their lives were in danger. Everyone, don't panic. As long as I don't press the controller in my hand, the daggers on the ceiling will continue to stay where they are. Guan Peng said, "This is just to prevent a riot at the scene. I don't want a rain of daggers to fall here. I'm afraid that many people will die." No one dared to say a word. When one's life was threatened, people would become especially quiet and obedient. I hope that everyone can supervise each other and see who is around you. Once someone wants to leave, I will press the password. Everyone will suffer because of this, so it depends on everyone's self-awareness. We need to supervise each other. If one person wants to escape, everyone will die. As soon as Guan Peng's voice fell, everyone's head buzzed. Who still had the thought of escaping? They all put their minds on the people around them, afraid that they would lose their lives because of someone escaping. The entire arena was so quiet that even a pin drop could be heard. I'm afraid that what happened between us has nothing to do with these people, right? Su Yun suddenly said. Guan Peng smiled slightly. Su Yun, what a good Su Yun. Ha ha ha, have you forgotten that these people were hoping that Feng Lei Long would break your neck 10 minutes ago? They're all betting on your death. Your death will bring them huge benefits. Don't you remember? Su Yun didn't say anything. I can understand if anyone here pleads for them, but I can't understand if you plead for them. Guan Peng's smile gave people a perverted feeling. These people are indeed trash. To put it nicely, they're called animals in human clothing. To put it bluntly, they're called walking corpses. Su Yun said, but they don't deserve to die. Guan Peng, you killed so many people. Aren't you afraid that the heavens will punish you and send you to hell? Guan Peng glared. I'm already living in hell. Also, I don't like people calling me by my name. Oh, right. I should call you second brother. Su Yun said disdainfully. Alright, second brother, there's something I want to confirm. Your 2 is the 2 from 2, right? Guan Peng's cheekbones trembled. Other than Shen Jiang, there probably wasn't a second person who dared to talk to him like this. Su Yun, I want to see how long you can be so stubborn. After saying that, Guan Peng clapped his hands. Yi Fala's hands were tied behind her back, and she was brought out from the backstage room. After seeing Yi Fala, Su Yun's face became gloomy. Guan Peng, do you know what kind of man I'm most disgusted with? It's a sissy like you who bullies women. Don't misunderstand. I won't do anything to Yi Zi. Guan Peng said, I just want to prove to her that you, Su Yun, don't care about her at all. I, Guan Peng, am the one who cares about her the most. Was there something wrong with this guy's brain? Su Yun was startled. Could it be that Guan Peng was treating him as his love rival? Wait a minute. Yi Fala never told Su Yun that Guan Peng was interested in her? And she didn't admit that she knew Guan Peng. Guan Peng. You should really see a psychiatrist. Yi Fala coldly glared at Guan Peng. She helplessly glanced at Su Yun. This matter started because of her. How could she still have the face to face Su Yun? Guan Peng, however, remained unmoved. Su Yun, make a choice now. Do you want Yizi to go with you, or do you want everyone here to leave? If you choose Yizi, then I'll kill everyone in the audience. If you choose those people, Yizi will be mine in the future. You can scram as far as you can. This guy was really a psychopath. Let these people go. Su Yun didn't even think about it. Yizi, did you see that? This guy doesn't care about you at all. Guan Peng roared. He was obviously very agitated. Chapter 992. Su Yun's domineering and arrogant attitude completely infuriated Guan Peng. Guan Peng was not someone to be trifled with. As the #1 person in the underground boxing world, he was not only a good boss in the underground boxing world, but also relied on his fists to fight his way to his current position step by step. Facing Su Yun's fists, Guan Peng did not say anything and directly used his fists to fight back. Everyone's heart was in suspense. The password that controlled everyone's lives was in Guan Peng's hands. As long as Guan Peng gently pressed it, the daggers hanging above everyone's heads would not have eyes. If girls liked the romance of a rain of flowers, then a sky full of daggers would be a bloody romance. Su Yun's goal was very clear. He wanted to snatch the password from Guan Peng's hands and save these people from the abyss of suffering. If this abnormal person's hand trembled and pressed the password, this place would instantly become a purgatory. This kind of case would directly shock the whole country. At that time, the entire Shenzhou police force would probably be involved. Even if Qin Wan-er was responsible, she might lose her job because of this. This did not mean that Su Yun cared about Qin Wan-er's job. After all, thousands of lives were involved. If Su Yun did not care, his conscience would not be able to live with it. No matter what, saving people was more important. Guan Peng's strength was not comparable to those people before. He was far ahead of Feng Leilong. Even if his bullshit 4 great Vajras were added together, they would not be half of Guan Peng's strength. To be able to rule the underground boxing world of Xinjiang, it would be impossible if he did not have some real skills. When dealing with those guys before, Su Yun could use the power of Tai Chi to play around with them. He could use Bajiquan to directly break their joints. Guan Peng was not so easy to deal with. At least for now, it seemed that the two sides had half the sky. Guan Peng's mixed martial arts was ever-changing. Su Yun also used mixed martial arts to deal with it. It was dazzling and overwhelming. Both of them used a type of competitive fighting technique with extremely open rules. In this kind of underground boxing world where there were no rules, the more open the rules were, the more people could gain a foothold and win a place for themselves. Su Yun wasn't unfamiliar with this either. In the Dragon Brigade's tournament, everyone would use mixed martial arts to fight. Finally, Su Yun seized the opportunity and pressed both of his hands on Guan Peng's chest. His left hand was on top, and his right hand was on the bottom. His body suddenly moved to the same side, and one of his legs was on Guan Peng's neck, while the other leg was on Guan Peng's chest. He clamped down with all his strength, and both of his hands were tightly gripping Guan Peng's left arm. Of course, it was impossible to completely subdue Guan Peng with just one move. Su Yun just wanted to snatch the passcode. However, Guan Peng used the gap between his chest and throat to break free from Su Yun's grip. Instead, he wanted to use Su Yun's opening to give Su Yun a guillotine move. However, Su Yun's reaction speed was completely beyond his expectations. Before he could lock Guan Peng's throat, Guan Peng had already escaped from Su Yun's attack range. The two of them exchanged more than 10 moves, and neither of them had the upper hand. Guan Peng didn't have it easy. The fight had exhausted too much of his stamina. Su Yun smiled slightly. He had played enough, and had seen the strength of underground boxers. Su Yun had to admit that it was indeed an eye-opener for someone who didn't rely on the state of mind to reach such a level. However, if one wanted to become a top expert, it was impossible to cultivate without the state of mind. At least now, it could be seen in terms of stamina. Although Guan Peng's physical training was more than 10 times that of Su Yun's, he would still pant because of his stamina. However, Su Yun, who had cultivated his qi for 20 years, didn't pant because of the high-intensity confrontation just now. The gap was always discovered inadvertently. If this continued, in less than 10 rounds, Guan Peng would inevitably reveal a flaw because of his stamina. When that time came, Su Yun wouldn't even need to waste too much energy to finish him off. However, Su Yun wasn't the kind of person who liked to wait patiently. When Guan Peng once again pounced forward, Su Yun didn't care about the rules of mixed martial arts, and met him with a kick to the groin. Peng! Who would have thought? Guan Peng knelt on the ground in pain. Su Yun walked forward to Guan Peng's back, and wrapped his arms tightly around Guan Peng's neck. This strangling technique was known as the guillotine, so one could imagine how dangerous it was. Su Yun's arms exerted pressure on Guan Peng's trachea, preventing him from breathing air into his lungs. The feeling of suffocation quickly replaced the pain in his balls. Guan Peng struggled and tried to pry Su Yun's arms away, and threw the password control in his hands to the ground. Su Yun's eyes were sharp and his hands were fast, and he stomped on it fiercely. The password control was smashed into pieces by Su Yun. Everyone in the audience held their breaths at almost the same time, and their next action was naturally to look up at the top of their heads. The daggers on top of their heads didn't fall down because of the password control, and the entire boxing field instantly became restless. Without a threat to their lives, who would be willing to sit under a sky full of daggers? Pang! A gunshot echoed in the field. Feng Fuyo stood at the highest point, and coldly said to the audience, "Sit down. It's not time for you to go out yet." The bullets once again made everyone obediently submit. Guan Peng struggled for almost 5 minutes, and finally gave up resisting. Su Yun's steel-like arms were tightly strangling his neck, and he had already started to faint due to the lack of oxygen. If this continued, he was afraid that he would really be strangled to death by Su Yun. The moment Guan Peng fainted, Su Yun breathed a sigh of relief, and heavily threw Guan Peng's body on the ground. Other than the traitorous Feng Fuyo and the injured third King Kong, the other underground boxers had no idea what to do. The head of the 4 King Kong, Bloodthirsty, had already disappeared. This guy's skill of escaping was really good. After Yi Fala's hands were untied, she immediately rushed in front of Su Yun. Su Yun reflexively opened his arms, and pulled Yi Fala into his arms. This was how it was in the movies. Next, Yi Fala would be so moved that she would cry and punch Su Yun a few times. She would stupidly shout, "You're bad, you're 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 bad." But reality was not like that. Yi Fala only stayed in Su Yun's arms for a second, and then broke free. When Guan Peng asked you to make a choice, couldn't you say something nice? Am I not as important as this group of people who have nothing to do with you? They are indeed not important, but 1,000 lives is really important. Su Yun did not know how to explain. Yi Fala had already passed the age of an ignorant girl, and would not pester him, but she was still a little angry. Then Su Yun notified Qin Wan and asked her to lead a team to Qin Tai Hotel to arrest the people. Qin Wan not only successfully arrested the mastermind of the explosion, but also found the biggest underground boxing ring in Shenzhen City. She caught a group of backbones and a lot of money, and the thousands of spectators who participated in the underground boxing and gambling were all fined and detained. It was another beautiful case of killing many birds with one stone. Chapter 993. The underground boxing gang led by Guan Peng was eliminated, and the thousands of people involved in the underground boxing gambling were not let off either. They all obediently stayed in the police station and deeply reflected on their actions. They also used the most sincere attitude to accept the police's education on the correct outlook on life and values. Qin Wan had made a great contribution. To her, this was not a rare thing for the police. Even if Su Yun did not tell her, Qin Wan would not drag the trouble to Su Yun. Su Yun did these things not for the sake of rewards. Everyone was well aware of this. Of course, there were a few people in the police station who knew that Qin Wan solved many big cases under the operation of Su Yun. But so what? As long as the case was solved, it did not matter who did it or what method was used. Anyway, the one who made the contribution was the entire Shenzhong police station. It was good for everyone. Although Yi Fala was forced to stay in the Qintai Hotel, she did not have a frightened expression. She, who had already experienced many storms, did not take this matter to heart. From the beginning to the end, Guan Peng could not hurt a single strand of her hair. Everything was targeted at Su Yun. The matter was over, and everyone understood. Su Yun bitterly smiled. If this kind of thing happened a few more times, he would not be able to take it. Which of the beauties around him was not as beautiful as flowers? If every one of them provoked one or two love rivals like Guan Peng, then Su Yun would not be able to live. He would have to deal with these trivial matters all day. Yi Zi, how many people in Shenzhong are drooling over you? Su Yun was not joking. If this matter was really clear, at least they would be mentally prepared. Yi Fala shrugged her shoulders. Then she was helpless. She was not clear about this. How would she know how many men there were? She had been single all these years. Before Su Yun appeared, she, the Black Widow Xinjiang, was the center of attention in any upper-class society. Not the mutated meaning of Baoqiang, but the meaning of the word itself. What do you want to hear? Do you want me to say that I don't have any, or, there are so many that I can't even remember them myself? The latter half of Yi Fala's sentence was the truth. She really couldn't remember how many people had expressed their goodwill to her, and how many people had fought to the point of bleeding because of her. However, she had never smiled at any of them from the beginning to the end. A year ago, the two super-hedonistic sons of Shenzhong City had fallen in love with Yi Fala at first sight, causing a very chaotic group fight in Shenzhong City. Even the most famous bar in Times Square was set on fire. 58 participants were seriously injured and 4 died. Because of this incident, the two instigators of the incident were sentenced to prison for causing trouble. Originally, this kind of thing would have been severely punished, but unfortunately, their families had connections. One was sentenced to 2 years, while the other was sentenced to 3 years. He reckoned that he would be able to release it very soon if he tried to clear it up a little more. Then it's hard to say if it will stop. Su Yun smiled bitterly. Right now, he couldn't care so much about other things. He would deal with whatever came his way. There would always be a way out. Lin Ge had been waiting outside. When the police car arrived, he rushed in with Qin Wan. Knowing that Brother Yun had taken care of this group of people by himself, he was really surprised for a while. Seeing that Yi Fala was fine, they were relieved. The matter had finally reached a stage. After more than 10 hours of long-distance travel, Kevin Matthew and Chong finally arrived in Yanjing before midnight. Chong threw empty bottles of Red Bull in the back seat of the car. No matter how tired he was from driving, he wasn't willing to let Kevin Matthew sit in the driver's seat. When they got off the highway, Kevin Matthew was really apologetic. "Let me drive. You don't have to worry so much. You and Su Yun are brothers, and I and Su Yun are brothers. We are all brothers. If you continue to be so polite, then you don't treat me as one of your own." No. You really misunderstood me. I definitely treat you as one of my own. Chong said, but I'm worried that you won't be used to driving. In Hua Xia, the driver's seat is on the left. Don't you all drive on the right? It will definitely be very awkward. Who told you that we drive on the right in other countries? Kevin Matthews said, there aren't many countries that drive on the right. Hong Kong, Macau, Japan, Thailand, and India are. Most of the other countries are small island countries. Most of the countries in the world drive on the left. Obviously, America drives on the left. Haven't you watched American dramas? Chongzi was suddenly enlightened. Damn. The cars in American dramas really drive on the left. Chong exclaimed and patted his head hard. It's really terrible to be uncultured. I've lost all my face. My brain. If I had known, we would have taken turns driving on the highway. I wouldn't be so tired like this. It was already late and they had gotten off the highway. Chong didn't need to let Kevin Matthew drive. After finding a decent hotel, Chong could finally get off the car and rest his numb buttocks. He liked the A6 because the Audi was comfortable. However, after driving for a long time, even the Bentley would hurt his buttocks. It was comfortable only because it was comfortable. Let's have a good rest tonight. If there's anything, we can do it tomorrow morning. After Chong parked the car, he asked tentatively. He was afraid that Kevin Matthew would look for someone without stopping. He couldn't bear it. No matter how tired he was, Chong would never let Kevin Matthew do things alone. If Brother Yun knew about it, he couldn't explain it. He came out to do things, not to play. Kevin Matthew nodded. Of course. Rest today. You are already very tired. It must be very tiring to drive for so long. I'm embarrassed. I really don't know what to say. No need to be embarrassed. You can treat me to a meal in the room later. Call 2 masseuses for me. Chong twisted his stiff neck. Kevin Matthew was startled. Before he could react, Chong grinned. I'm just joking with you. Don't take it seriously. By the way, I don't know if there are door-to-door services in the United States, but you have to be careful in Huaxia. If you receive a call from the room asking if you want a massage, you can refuse. You'll be lucky if you meet an ugly and expensive one. If you meet a badger, then you're out of luck. Badger? What do you mean? Zombies? Kevin Matthew had never heard of such words. Chong scratched his head. The most traditional example is to let a good-looking girl seduce a single young man like you. She will call you and ask if you want special services. Then, she will go to your room. If you are about to do something, the door will suddenly be kicked open. A bunch of people who claim to be the girl's husband, brother, or father will rush in. They will catch you on the spot and force you to sign a huge sum of compensation. If you don't comply, they will beat you violently. They will not stop until they get the so-called cover-up fee. Kevin Matthews' jaw almost dropped. No way. Is it as exaggerated as you say? Can Huaxia be so chaotic? This is Yanjing, the capital. Shanghai is useless. Where there is profit, there is harm. Chong said seriously, remember, don't let those girls who call come to your door. If you really want to pass the time, I will recover my strength tomorrow and take you directly to earthly paradise. That place is called the best. Chapter 994. Chong slept like a log that night. When he opened his eyes, the sun was already shining on his butt. Although Chong didn't want to wake up yet, he had to get up because of the mission. After getting out of bed, Chong washed his face a few times and hurriedly knocked on the door of the next room. Kevin Matthew had already eaten the breakfast buffet and was waiting for Chong to wake up. Seeing Chong's embarrassed look, Kevin Matthew smiled and invited him into the room. Brother Matthew, I'm really sorry. I slept until now. I didn't delay anything important, did I? If I delayed your matter, then I'm really sorry. Chong apologized first and said, I'm ready. I can leave at any time. Just say the word. I didn't delay anything. I'm still researching now. Kevin Matthew called Chong to the computer and pointed to some information on the screen. The old place I'm looking for was demolished a few years ago. It was all built into high-end commercial houses with more than 30 floors. Phew, I'm afraid the address I know is no longer useful. Although Beijing is not big, there are too many people. It's too difficult to find a person without a target. Help me think. Do you have any clues? I don't have any clues now. I don't know what to do next. Chong nodded and said, That's okay. Let's go to the property management of this place and ask. As long as we know the name, we might be able to find out. Huaxia may be different from the United States. After the old houses here were demolished, the local residents have the benefits of moving back. They live in this community. So, the person you are looking for may still be in this place. Hearing Chong's words, Kevin Matthews' eyes lit up. My mighty Huaxia's policies and benefits are good. They can even move back. Not only can they demolish the old house, but they can also live in a new house. This is not a good thing in any country. Of course, there are also some who might not choose to move back. Chong said, some people feel that the subsidies are too low and don't want to move. In the end, they have no choice but to be demolished. If they don't move back, there might be additional rewards. This would also cause some people to choose to move away forever. We can only confirm these things when we get there. Let's go now. Let's go. Kevin Matthew couldn't wait to rush to the residential area. If this piece of land was placed in the current Yanjing, it would definitely be a premium property in a superior location. It was the third ring road. Among all the people in the world, the number of people who could afford to buy a house in the third ring road was definitely less than 1 in 10,000. Therefore, those who could afford to live in the third ring road always had a sense of superiority. Not to mention the people who lived here, even the people who worked here had an inexplicable sense of superiority. It was not some Fortune 500 company. It was just a property management department of a small community. Did they have to be so arrogant? Just that woman's Beijing accent and indifferent attitude made Chong feel disgusted. If he saw such a person in Hadong, Chong would have already greeted them with a big slap. He really didn't know if this woman didn't know that she was sitting here to provide service, not to pretend to be a queen. Find someone? You just gave me a name and you want me to find someone? Do you think that's possible? The woman cracked melon seeds and said to Kevin Matthew with a cold attitude, there's no way to do this. Kevin Matthews' attitude was quite sincere. I know it might be a little troublesome, but I really have no other choice. That's why I'm asking you this. Sorry to trouble you. No, no, no. Please don't trouble me. The woman shook her head and waved her hand. Do you know, the lowest floor here is 33 floors, and the highest is 48 floors. There are nearly 200 buildings. The smallest building has 96 households, and the largest building has 198 households. How many households are there? You can calculate it. How am I supposed to find out? After saying that, the woman spat out the melon seeds in her mouth and muttered, It's easy for you to say that. F***K. What the F***K are you talking about? Can't you talk nicely? Chong was anxious when he heard that. This woman actually gave Kevin Matthew a cold shoulder. Don't you have a computer? Don't tell me you don't even have the information of your own residents? You can just use your computer to check the database and you'll know. Are you bullying us foreigners because we don't know about high technology? Let me tell you, let's not talk about Shenzhen. Even in the small cities below, elevators and houses are not rare anymore. Bah! What kind of attitude is that? Who are you talking about? When the woman heard Chong's sarcasm, she slammed the melon seeds in her hand on the table and stood up. Don't come here to find trouble. We are the property management. We are the management of the residential area, not the people's police. If you want to find someone, go find the police. The police uncle is very free and can help you. Humph. The customer is God. You're still yelling at me? Chong glared at her. With his short temper, how could he stand this? The woman was not weak at all. God? Can you afford to buy the houses here? Humph, foreigner, let me tell you, the houses in Yanjing's Third Ring Road can't be bought with 10,000 or 20,000 yuan. We are a high-class residential area. What do you know about a high-class residential area? 35,000 square meters. The smallest one now is 283 square meters. Including the house tax and opening fees, you can't get it without 10 million yuan. As she spoke, the woman glanced at the parking lot outside the property management department. Humph, do you really think you're rich just because you drive an A6? A car that costs 500,000 yuan is nothing in Yanjing. F***ck your grandpa. Chong's short temper flared up. He really wanted to turn the property management department upside down. Other than the woman's bad attitude, the other employees of the property management department also looked at Chong with disdain, as if he was the uncultured troublemaker. Forget it. Kevin Matthew said, since they can't find it, let's not make things difficult for them. Maybe they really can't find it. If they can find it, can the employees still find an excuse? Brother, you don't understand. This is not America, where the employees do what they can. This is Huaxia, where these dogs can do whatever they can. They just want to take the money and not do the work. Chong said, even if there are 100,000 households here, if someone didn't pay the electricity and water bills, they will definitely find out within 5 minutes. You don't understand the country's situation. They are just fooling you. The woman who was eating melon seeds glanced at Kevin Matthew. I can't tell that you have been abroad. Humph, what are you pretending to be? Chong glared at her. Do you believe that I will slap you? Come on, try it. Try hitting me. I don't believe that you dare to kill people in front of the emperor. The woman who was eating melon seeds was definitely a shrew. In this day and age, the people in the property management department were so shameless. If they had a little face, they wouldn't be able to do this kind of work that involved arguing with the owners. Chongzi raised his head and glanced at the cameras. If he really slapped them, it would be unreasonable. Okay, just you wait. I will definitely complain to your leader. Chong gritted his teeth hatefully. The woman rolled her eyes. Then I am really sorry. I am the leader of the property management department. If you want to complain, just tell me. I will help you punish him. Humph. Country bumpkin. Kevin Matthew had never seen such a scene. He hurriedly pulled Chong away. If this continued, it wouldn't be good for either of them. Although Chong was pulled into the car, the more he thought about it, the more he felt vexed. In his anger, he did something extremely impulsive. Chapter 995. After the impulse, Chong regretted it in his heart. Brother Yoon arranged for him to come here to help Kevin Matthew, not to cause trouble for Kevin Matthew. This wasn't their small county in Hadong, nor was it in Zhenjiang, where Qin Wan'er could protect him. This was Yanjing, the capital. Doing this kind of thing here was simply asking for trouble. Kevin Matthew didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Originally, he was thinking of looking for another way. Now, he was afraid that he couldn't even leave. The most troublesome thing was that he didn't have a visa, no identification, and a pistol. If he was caught by the police, he would be in big trouble. Chong, your impulse is the devil. You have forced Kevin Matthew into a dead end. Brother Matthew, I'm really sorry. I was impulsive and couldn't care about anything. Chongzi said with a bitter face, if Big Brother Yoon knew that I had caused such a huge mess for you, he would definitely shoot me in the head. Chong also knew that if Kevin Matthew was involved in this matter, it would be troublesome. This was also the reason why Su Yun wanted him to accompany him all the way. Although they gave Kevin Matthew a fake ID, it could only be used to open a room in the hotel. Once they went to the police station, they would be able to find out that Kevin Matthew wasn't the person on the ID. Except for the photo of Kevin Matthew, the name and number on the ID were all Dan Hongning's. Brother Matthew, you go first. I will stop them for you here. I am the one who caused this. I guess I won't have a good time in jail. You inform Brother Yoon and bring me to apologize to him. Chong finished speaking and directly opened the door to get out of the car. He scolded the crowd. How dare you provoke me? Do you know who I am? F***ck, who dares to touch me? Do you believe that I won't kill you? With Chong's shout, the property department security guards came over. Kevin Matthew took the opportunity to quickly escape from the scene. Chong was now at most a public troublemaker, causing serious disorder in public places, and wantonly destroying public property. As long as he didn't hurt anyone and the circumstances weren't bad, he wouldn't be sentenced to any serious punishment. At most, he would be detained and suffer a little. A few security guards forcibly restrained Chong, but Chong had been in many fights since he was young, so he would not give in so easily. He waited until he was sure that Kevin Matthew was far away before he calmed down. Stop, stop, stop. Let's talk nicely. Let's wait for the police to come. I know what I did wrong. Chong's attitude suddenly improved, making the security guards confused. F***CK. If you hit me again, I'll sue you for assault. There is a camera recording. Don't disfigure your face in self-defense. Don't regret it. Chong saw that the security guard still wanted to make a move. He glared and roared. As expected of a veteran of the underworld, he wouldn't be at a disadvantage no matter where he went. Chong made a big fuss and then pretended that nothing had happened while waiting for the police. In any case, he wouldn't be at a disadvantage. If they fought, he would be the one at a disadvantage. 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. A wise man knows better than to fight when the odds are against him. Chong was very clear about this. What's that smell? It's so smelly. Chong glanced at the woman who was eating melon seeds and said with disgust, F***CK. You're so scared that you peed your pants over such a small matter? If I drive into your house another day, I reckon you'll be so scared that you'll go see the king of hell, right? The woman who was eating melon seeds didn't dare to talk to such a fierce guy. She covered her face and wet pants and left the work post crying. This was definitely the darkest day of her life. She lost face to the bone. The efficiency of the Beijing police was high. They arrived at the scene of the crime within an hour. When the property department saw that the police had arrived, they finally straightened their backs and revealed the crimes that Chong had committed. Everyone wanted to make sure that Chong didn't die a good death. Of course, the police wouldn't only listen to their side of the story. They turned and asked Chong, "How do you explain this?" "Police comrade, you have to make a decision for me. I was unlucky today. I came to the property department to do something, but I met a woman who ate gunpowder. She just didn't want to do it for me." Chong said with a bitter face, "I thought that since they didn't want to do it for me, I would just leave. Who knew that the car would have a problem? I was obviously in reverse gear, but when I stepped on the gas, it rushed forward. Do you think I did it on purpose? I'm just a small citizen. I love cars like my life. Even if I used my head to hit it, I wouldn't be willing to hit it with the car. Don't you think I'm wronged? They're still accusing me of looking for trouble." Chong had learned how to make trouble many years ago. He was just bluffing. Anyway, he didn't have to pay taxes. The car broke down? It rushed forward in reverse gear? The police certainly didn't believe Chong's nonsense. "Are you an Audi scammer? For so many years, I have never heard of a car that could rush forward in reverse gear. Kid, your reason is really nonsense. Don't, police brother. I'm really not joking. I haven't seen it before. Didn't I see it today?" Chong said, "If I was an Audi scammer, would I still buy this car to drive? Don't you think so? People say that once you enter the Volkswagen door, you'll be a Volkswagen forever. My Passat was upgraded to A6. It's a Volkswagen brand. I won't drive a car that isn't a Volkswagen. I'm definitely a loyal member of the Godly Car Party." The police impatiently waved his hand. Chong was too good at bullshitting. He wasn't in the mood to listen to him. Okay. It's useless no matter how much you say. There are surveillance videos. If you have anything to say, come with me to the police station. Police brother, what about my car? Chong pointed to his Audi. The police glared at him. Drag it away first. This is a tool for committing crimes. If you did it intentionally, this car will be confiscated directly. Humph. You're really ruthless. Such a sturdy car was damaged like this. The airbags all popped out. I guess the engine is also scrapped. Chong's blood rushed to his head just now. He really didn't care about anything else. If this car was really scrapped, it would be enough to make his heart ache for a while. Cars are meant to be driven, not rammed. Fortunately, you're a German car. If it were a Japanese car, I'm afraid people would be injured." The police officer was obviously an angry young man who hated Japan. He definitely didn't want to miss the opportunity to get a black Japanese car. Chong nodded. Yes, yes, yes. That's a must. Driving a Japanese car is a disguised form of betrayal. The police officer was quite satisfied when he heard that. In fact, Chong wasn't so angry. The people wanted to earn money, and it was none of their business what they bought. It was also good to save money. Chong was disgusted with the Japanese and the Japanese government, but he wasn't disgusted with Japanese cars. Japanese cars were not bad. Moreover, they were all joint ventures. To put it bluntly, it was produced by Hua Xia Automobile Factory. There was no need to be so extreme. Many angry young people online were so angry when they heard that someone bought a Japanese car that they wanted to kill the owner's family. It was really useless. It would only lower their standards. After collecting evidence at the scene, Chong was brought back to the police station by the police. Chong didn't care about fines and compensation, but he couldn't be detained. This would delay Kevin Matthews' matter. Brother Yun would be angry. This was what he was most afraid of. Kevin Matthew wasn't involved in this matter. To Chong, it was definitely a blessing in disguise. Although Kevin Matthew left the scene, he didn't go far. He had been waiting at a place where he could observe the situation. When Chong was taken away, he quickly called Su Yun. He had to inform Su Yun immediately. He really didn't have the ability to get Chong out. This matter still depended on Su Yun. Chapter 996. Su Yun's head almost exploded when he heard what Kevin Matthew said. Chong, you are too muddle-headed. How can you do things like this?" Su Yun arranged for Chong to go because he thought that he would be more stable. He didn't expect that he would cause such a big trouble for him. After hanging up the phone, Su Yun quickly packed his things and immediately drove to Yanjing with Lin Gu. Originally, Lin Gu was thinking about going to Qingdao to play with Feng Ye for a few days when he was free. But now, it seemed that Chong's arrival in Yanjing had completely extinguished the small flame of his beautiful days. Lin Gu also understood that Su Yun definitely didn't go to Yanjing just for Chong. He owed Kevin Matthew too much. This time, it was time for him to help him. After all, Su Yun grew up in Yanjing. Although there was no urban life in the place where he lived, he still had a big advantage compared to other people. He had a lot of connections. After Chong was taken to the police station, he gave a one-on-one statement. Because Kevin Matthew also appeared in the surveillance video, when the police asked, Chong firmly said that he didn't know him. The woman who was scared to the point of peeing was also taken to the police station to be accused. She insisted that the two of them were accomplices. Originally, it was nothing, but it aroused the vigilance of the police. After some investigation, they determined that there was something wrong between Chong and the accomplice. They insisted that Chong tell them the whereabouts of Kevin Matthew. Chong was stubborn and insisted that he didn't know him. This angered the police. They started the interrogation early in the morning and didn't even give Chong a sip of water until noon. Chong didn't eat breakfast, so his stomach was rumbling. "Police, you are abusing me. Even if I am a criminal, you should give me some water and food, right? You guys are planning to use the same trick to deal with me." "You're right. If you cooperate, you'll suffer less. If you don't cooperate, then bear with it obediently. If 1 day doesn't work, then 2 days. If 2 days don't work, then 3 days." The policeman said, "Just from the way you bumped into me just now, it's obvious that you're a drug addict. Tell me, who are you two?" "Police comrade, you can't accuse people like this. Just take a blood sample and do a urine test." Chong said, "Even if you want to slander someone, you need evidence first. We are a law-abiding country." The policeman sneered, "Oh, you know the law? Then let me tell you, those who enter here do not know the law. Don't pretend to be an expert with me. Looking at your appearance, you must have reported to the police station many times. I'm warning you, if you have a criminal record, you will be severely punished." Chong really did have a criminal record. When he heard what the policeman said, he was a little scared. It couldn't be helped. He was just a small citizen who didn't have any connections in Yenjing. Brother Yun, oh Brother Yun, my fate is in your hands. You must be the savior and save me from the sea of suffering. This wait lasted for more than 10 hours. Su Yun and Lin Gu rushed over after receiving the call. It was already night time. The two of them took turns driving. Other than going to the toilet and buying a few pieces of bread in the service area, the rest of the time they were driving non-stop. Once they entered Beijing, Su Yun contacted Kevin Matthew. After they met, Kevin Matthew finally breathed a sigh of relief. Chong hasn't come out since he was taken to the police station. Kevin Matthew said, I'm worried that it has something to do with me. Su Yun didn't need Kevin Matthew to say more to be able to guess Chong's thoughts. He and Kevin Matthew had caused trouble together. If Kevin Matthew's identity was taken to the police station, it wouldn't be a small matter. Don't worry, Chong knows what he's doing. He won't say anything that shouldn't be said. Kevin Matthew nodded. I know that too. He's loyal. But the police will definitely find a way to make him talk. It's said that all crows are black. I've heard of how the police in America interrogate people. I'm afraid it won't be easy in Huaxia. It can't be. Isn't America particular about human rights? Su Yun said, the police in Huaxia enforce the law impartially. Is that so? Kevin Matthew glanced at Su Yun. A few days ago, I heard news about a fish bite incident. It said that a paroled prisoner accidentally fell into a fish pond and was bitten by the small fish in the pond. His eyes and mouth were gone. No matter how you look at it, it sounds like the hide-and-seek incident from 2009. You have quite a lot of trust in the people's public security. Su Yun shrugged helplessly. Tsinghua University and Peking University also have bad students who spend money to go to school. There are also straight-A students who study hard in a teacher's college in a small county. So it's inevitable that there's a batch of trash in the people's public security. Incidents like hide-and-seek and fish bite are inevitable. Anyway, in the end, if they can't do it, there's still a temporary worker to take the blame. Is that a compliment or sarcasm? Kevin Matthew finally understood Su Yun's sarcasm. Su Yun stopped joking. His expression was a little serious as he said, I'm really a little worried that there might be a temporary worker who would be rough with Chong. Pigeon, you go to Panjiayuan now and find a person called Ma Sana. I'll send the street number to your phone. Just tell him that I want to get someone out of the San Juan police station and ask him to help me think of a way. Lin Gu nodded. In Yenjing, it was Brother Yun's world. His connections were all here. Just like when Lin Gu returned to the Caribbean Sea, he was familiar with people everywhere. With people and connections, it was easy to get things done. When Kevin Matthew learned that there was hope, the stone hanging in his heart finally fell. Wait a minute. Su Yun opened his mouth and stopped Lin Gu, who was just about to leave. He said, if Ma Saner asks you why I didn't come to find him personally, tell him that I have something important to do. If he's not willing to help me, then warn him and ask him if he still wants to open his shop in Panjiayuan. If he doesn't want to open it, then just say it. I'll get a few friends to investigate it. The people who did business in Panjiayuan were more or less suspected of participating in the reselling of cultural relics. This matter could be big or small. If it was small, it was the antique business. If it was big, then it could be... Okay. Lin Gu nodded vigorously. This time, he had confidence in his heart. If he says he's not afraid of being investigated, then you can ask him if he's afraid of being smashed. After saying that, Su Yun glanced at Lin Gu and gave him a look that said, you know what I mean. Lin Gu suddenly understood. He guessed that Ma Saner was someone who refused a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Otherwise, Brother Yun wouldn't have told him so much. He told him so to tell him not to treat looking for Ma Saner as asking for help. If he didn't do it or couldn't do it well, then threaten him. Kevin Matthew didn't understand after listening for a long time. Isn't Ma Sanner your friend? Why do you have to threaten him? Ma Sanner, that grandson, is greedy for money and forgets righteousness for profit. He won't make friends with anyone. Su Yun smiled. It's just that his grandson owes me a big favor. If he doesn't help me, then I won't be polite to him. Kevin Matthew understood. He laughed twice. This kind of relationship was called a friend. No, to be exact, it should be a bad friend. Normal friends wouldn't do things like this. He really didn't know if Su Yun was careless in making friends or if Ma Sanner was careless in making friends. Should we do something now? Although Kevin Matthew was relieved, it was inevitable that he was anxious. Chapter 997. Pan Garden had a rule of not doing business at night. It wasn't that the sellers didn't want to sell, but there really weren't any buyers in the middle of the night. It was too dark to see clearly. There were people taking care of the shop, but they were also taking care of their own business. Those who had good stuff would only enter the shop at night. To put it simply, at this hour, the Pan family's courtyard was filled with family members and sellers who were here to sell big stuff. There were no idlers who came to buy things. According to the address that Su Yun sent to him, Lin Gu took countless turns and took countless wrong turns before he finally found the shop in the huge Panjiayuan. This Panjiayuan was like a huge maze. If one was not a regular customer, it was easy to get dizzy by the doors and eaves that were basically the same. Some knowledgeable readers told me that the Panjiayuan I wrote was different from the real Panjiayuan. Let me explain, this is a novel, not Panjiayuan. I even added a Z at the end. Don't get too immersed in the drama. Haha, this story is purely fictional. Knock, knock, knock. Lin Gu went up and knocked on the heavy wooden door. When he heard no response, he increased the strength of his hand and knocked on the door a few more times. Finally, a question came from inside the house. Are you here to sell? Lin Gu didn't know what it meant, but he nodded without hesitation. Yes, I'm here to sell. As long as the person inside could open the door, he didn't mind saying that he was a zombie herder. Compared to explaining so much, it seemed that admitting that he was a seller would make the person inside feel more comfortable and open the old wooden door for him. Then where's your stuff? The person inside the house asked again. Lin Gu was startled, but he immediately understood. He raised his head to look at the camera above the door and pointed at his neck. I'm wearing it myself, baby. I haven't seen the light yet. This is a good thing. Creak. Before Lin Gu could finish speaking, the door opened. Ma Sanner, with a sloppy and sleepy face, said to Lin Gu, who was standing at the door, "Come in and inspect the goods." Lin Gu nodded and followed Ma Sanner into the shop. Ma Sanner skillfully closed the door and looked at Lin Gu in surprise. "Brother, I've never seen you before. Who are you with? Who recommended you to come here to ship the goods?" As he spoke, Ma Sanner's gaze had already landed on the cowhide rope around Lin Ji's neck. He used his eyes to signal Lin Gu to quickly take it out and show it to him. Although he had asked so many questions, he did not intend to listen to any nonsense. Lin Gu smiled. "Brother Yun asked me to come. My name is Lin Gu." Lin Gu. Ma Sanner's face was startled. He stared and said, "Brother Yun? Which Brother Yun? Don't tell me it's Yen Long." Lin Gu quickly nodded. Ma Sanner's expression became more and more surprised. "It can't be." "This is the first time since the beginning of time. Brother Yun even introduced me to business. I'm really flattered." Okay. Since you are Brother Yun's friend, I will definitely give you the highest price in the market. If the item is priceless and I can't afford it, I will help you contact a buyer. I won't even take the labor fee." "Your name is Ma Sanner." "That's right, it's me. Although I don't have any pockmarks. Don't worry, we are on the same side. I'm definitely reliable." Ma Sanner introduced himself. He couldn't wait to see the goods now. Su Yun definitely wouldn't be interested in ordinary things. Since he had already introduced him, who knew if Lin Ji's neck was the heart-shaped stone that Tang Xuanzong gave to Yang Guifei? Lin Gu nodded. If you are on the same side, then you are definitely reliable. To be honest, I'm not here to sell anything. I only have a dog tooth in my neck. It's not something valuable. What? Ma San'er was startled. You brat, are you here to amuse me in the middle of the night? Even if you are Su Yun's brother, you can't cheat him like this. Brother, you don't know the rules. I'm really sorry, third brother. I have no choice. Lin Gu said, I'm afraid you won't open the door after I explain it clearly. Brother Yun asked me to come to you. It's an emergency. Please help me. Ma San'er patted his forehead helplessly. He had already called him third brother. How could he not give him face? Fine. Brother, tell me. What did Brother Yun ask you to do? It's a small matter. Lin Gu smiled. He wants to get someone out of the Third Ring Road. One of his brothers committed a small crime. He wants you to help him. Ma San'er's eyes widened. Are you kidding me? How is this a small matter? Do you think all the police stations in Yanjing are run by me? They are run by the government. That is a place with rules. If I want to get someone out, I won't stay here anymore. I will go to Zongnanhai directly. Ma San'er complained and shook his head helplessly. Brother Yun must have a way to deal with such a small matter. I can't do it. No way. Third brother, there are some things that I'm embarrassed to say. Please be straightforward. Lin Gu said, it's an emergency. Brother Yun thought of you because he knows you are trustworthy. What's there to be embarrassed to say? Brother Yun must have taught you, right? Ma San'er snorted. Tell him that I'm not afraid of being investigated. I'm very clean. Don't try this on me. I won't fall for it. Lin Gu sighed with emotion at Su Yun's accurate judgment. He picked up a blue and white porcelain vase on the table in Ma San'er's shop. As expected, Ma San'er's expression changed. Third brother, Brother Yun didn't say anything about investigating. Lin Gu smiled slightly. He said that you're not afraid of being investigated. You're afraid of smashing it. I don't know how much this thing in my hand is worth. What if my wrist trembles? Brother. I call you brother. You don't have to call me third brother. Ma San'er wanted to cry. I give up. I will do whatever Brother Yun asks me to do. Don't worry. Go back and tell him that I will find my connections now. Ask him to wait for a while. I will definitely do it for him. Lin Gu stared at Ma San'er and didn't intend to leave. Ma San'er cried and picked up his phone helplessly. Then, he began to make phone calls one after another. Speaking of which, Ma San'er's network in Yanjing was quite big. After a few phone calls, he was able to contact the director of the Third Ring Road station. After a good discussion, Ma San'er breathed a sigh of relief. Okay, this matter is settled. Ask Brother Yun to prepare to pick him up at the entrance of the Third Ring Road station. Lin Ji's face showed a bright smile. Third brother is really capable. He settled it with just a few words. Thank you, third brother. You're welcome. Big Brother Yun is really capable. To be able to force me to this extent, I owe him a few more favors. Sigh. Ma San'er shook his head helplessly. Brother little Lin, can you put down my vase now? It's from the Song dynasty. It's a treasure. Of course. Lin Gu put down the vase carefully. Third brother, then I won't disturb your rest. When I have time later, I will treat you to a good drink. Ma San'er waved his hand. He wasn't in the mood to drink. He had to give gifts and treat people involved in this matter. Although he had a lot of connections in Yanjing, it wasn't easy to find people to do things. If he didn't make up for the favors in time, no one would help him when he had business problems in the future. These relationships were all bought by Ma San'er bit by bit with money. It wasn't something that could be done in a day. People nowadays were like this. There was no point in cramming at the last minute. If he wanted to maintain relationships, he would need at least 3 years of careful cultivation. Humans were complicated, high-level animals. Everyone had selfish motives. It wasn't easy to protect them. Chapter 998. After hanging up the phone, a relaxed smile appeared on Su Yun's face. He raised his head and said to Kevin and Matthew, "The pigeons have been settled. I believe Chong Zi will be out soon." Kevin Matthew was in disbelief. He opened his eyes wide and hesitated for a while before saying, "That's it? It's just a phone call. You don't need anyone to bail him out?" In Huaxia, there are a lot of things that are dispensable. As long as you have a strong enough connection, it's much easier to get things done. Su Yun, if you don't have a strong enough connection, even if you come to the scene in person, they won't give you face. If Pigeon says it's done, it must be done. Huaxia's way of doing things was really different. Kevin Matthew had a sudden realization. If they had connections, it wouldn't matter if Chong hit the property management department. If they didn't have connections, no one would care if they just went to the property management department to find out if a property owner existed. Thousands of years of traditional culture turned Huaxia's network of connections into a very important skill in life. As long as they had connections, even if they didn't have skills, ability, eloquence, or even the physical strength to do heavy work, they could still rely on their connections to get a good job position. Knowledge was power. It was power that could change a person's life. In addition to this famous saying of conveying positive energy, China could also apply the saying that relationships are strength. Not to mention that people in society needed connections to do things, even primary school students needed connections to run for class monitor. "Can you also ask your friend from Pan Garden to help me find someone?" Kevin Matthews' hope was ignited again. Chong had always said that he needed Brother Yun to do things in Yanjing. It seemed that it was true. Of course. Su Yun agreed. The people of Beijing have given Ma San'er a nickname, Bai Shaoxing. It's not a nickname that he came up with himself. Su Yun patted his chest and promised, "Let him handle this matter. He'll definitely find someone for you." Kevin Matthew breathed a sigh of relief again. "That's great. I'm relieved to hear that. When Chong Zi comes out later, we'll go look for him. We'll treat him to supper on the way as a way to thank him for helping Chong Zi." Su Yun said, "If you have any requests, just say the word. Whoever you want to find, just say the word." "Brother Yun, Chong is out." Kevin Matthew turned around and saw Chong preparing to leave the police station. Su Yun raised his eyebrows. Ma San'er's efficiency was really high. He really had to treat him to a few drinks tonight. However, the good times didn't last long. Before Su Yun and Kevin Matthew could go forward to pick up Chong, a few policemen rushed out and handcuffed Chong again. Kevin Matthew was stunned. Su Yun was also stunned. "What's going on?" This kid couldn't have taken something from the police station and got caught, right? The most depressed person was Chong himself. What the F***ck is this? They interrogated him for an entire day and didn't even give him a sip of water, let alone food or a cigarette. Just as Chongzi was hoping that Big Brother Yun would come to save him as soon as possible, the attitude of the people at the police station suddenly took a 180-degree turn. They served him tea and gave him cigarettes. They even said that they were all on the same side and that this was a misunderstanding. They asked him not to take it to heart. Chong was elated in a second. He knew that Brother Yun must have come to settle this matter. After gulping down a cup of tea, Chong smoked a cigarette and said a bunch of nonsense to the two policemen interrogating him. What he meant was that they shouldn't look down on people through the cracks of the door in the future. Maybe the other party's connections were 100 or 1,000 times better than yours. Stop bragging and do the real thing. After finishing his cigarette, Chong swaggered out of the police station. However, he didn't expect that the moment he stepped out of the door, the policeman would chase after him and shout for him to stop. Chong thought that the policeman would give him some local specialties to take back as an apology. He didn't expect to be greeted with cold handcuffs. F***ck. Are you playing with me? Chong shouted. What did I do? Why are you arresting me again? Who do you think you are? You think you can arrest whoever you want with your law enforcement authority? Let me tell you, don't mess with me. If I can let you go once, I can let you go a second time. The policeman kicked Chong in the stomach. Do you think you are the only one with a loud voice? Let me tell you, the one who called us to let you go was our bureau chief, but the one who asked our bureau chief to arrest you is our district bureau chief. Do you know who the woman you offended at the property management department is? She is our bureau chief's sister-in-law. F***CK. It can't be so coincidental, right? Chong opened his eyes wide. The district bureau chief should be quite capable. How can his sister-in-law work in the property management department? This doesn't make sense. It seems that his brother-in-law isn't a good brother-in-law. Otherwise, he should at least arrange for his sister-in-law to be a small leader in a state-owned enterprise. You're so lucky. Everyone knows that our district director is very obedient to his sister-in-law. You're going to suffer for offending her today. The policeman said, you should stay in the station tonight. Pray that the district bureau chief won't punish you tomorrow. Then let me go. I will make a phone call. Chong said, don't regret telling me. Make a phone call? You can just find our bureau chief with your little ability. Our bureau chief turned off his phone a long time ago so that he won't be involved in this matter. The policeman said, he said it himself. We will listen to the district bureau chief on how to deal with it. Don't play any tricks. Freedom was close at hand, but Chong was pulled back. The greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. Su Yun couldn't understand now. Ma San-er was quite steady in his work. What happened to this sudden situation? No, it seems that I have to go to Panjiayuan personally. In order to prevent Ma San-er from leaving, Su Yun called Lin Gu again and told him that Chong's matter wasn't done. Su Yun asked him not to leave and to guard Ma San-er's shop and not to let him escape. Hearing that the matter wasn't done, Lin Gu hung up the phone and went to knock on the door. This Ma San-er isn't kind. Asking me to leave when the matter wasn't done? Isn't this cheating me? Ma San-er didn't know that a district bureau chief would appear out of nowhere. When Lin Gu went to the door and told him about the matter, he began to make phone calls to inquire about the situation. It took a lot of effort to figure out the matter. At this time, Su Yun and Kevin Matthew also arrived. Come on, Brother Yun. You came personally. It seems that I have a lot of face. Ma San-er just happened to hang up the phone. You don't have to say anything. I know what you want to say. I have already asked around. Originally, this is not a big deal, but the woman your friend offended in the district property department is the district bureau chief's sister-in-law. Well, since there are no outsiders, I don't need to say anything. She is his sister-in-law, but she is actually a mistress. His wife doesn't have a sister. So, you can't do it? Su Yun wasn't in the mood to gossip. Ma San-er shrugged his shoulders. To be honest, my connections rarely cover that group of people. Brother Yun, don't make it difficult for me. If I can help, I will definitely help you. But now, this is beyond my ability. That district bureau chief doesn't have many people who can control him. Other than giving face to their district mayor, he probably won't give face to anyone else. Then their district mayor is? Su Yun frowned and asked. Chapter 999. Ma San-er sighed. Muwei's house is in the Blue Lake District, Building 38, Unit 1, Room 601. This is the only help I can give you. To be honest, we all know the houses of these leaders. Muwei's house can be said to be the most ordinary among these leaders. But knocking on his door and giving him a gift is the most difficult. This person is very upright, so it's even more impossible for him to help us. Lin Gu said, no matter what, after all, it was Chong who drove his car into the property management department first. This matter doesn't make sense no matter where we go. That's right, but you also have an advantage. Ma San-er said, now it's their district director, Meng Jixiang, who wants to mess with your people. Mu Wei has always disliked Meng Jixiang's style of living. He even mentioned many times in public that Meng Jixiang should correct his own style of living and not bring his negative influence to other public officials. So, I think that using Meng Jixiang to speak for this matter is a breakthrough. Although Su Yun felt that this matter was really unreliable, so far, he really didn't have any other way. Even if it was a dead horse that was still alive, Su Yun still had to pay a visit to Mu Wei. It would be best if he could settle this matter himself. He didn't want to go to war and find Wang Yi to solve this matter. That would be too embarrassing. Ma Sana, whether this matter succeeds or not, I still want to thank you. Su Yun, but this time, I didn't come to you for this matter. I still have one more thing to ask of you. Brother Yun, please spare me. Nothing you ask me to do is easy. Ma Sana cried. Can't we still have fun together? You're ruining our fun and friendship by doing this. Su Yun was speechless. I didn't plan to play with you. If you want to play with us, fine, but you have to do the proper business for me first. With that said, Su Yun pointed at Kevin Matthew and continued to speak to Ma Sana. This is my brother Matthew. He came to Beijing to look for someone. Ma Sana, you're really good at finding people. Alright, brother Yun, I owe you. When Ma Sana heard that he was looking for someone and not fishing them out, he relaxed a lot. He even took the initiative to extend his hand to Kevin Matthew to greet him. Brother Matthew, just call me Ma Sana. Since you're already here, don't treat me like an outsider. Treat this as your own home. If there's anything, you can communicate with Ma Sana directly. Su Yun said to Kevin Matthew before instructing Lin Gu, go to the police station and pretend to report a case. Sneak in and check on Chong's situation. Act according to the situation. Lin Gu nodded. He nodded and quickly got to work. Su Yun looked at the time. It was almost 10 o'clock at night. He could only hope that Mu Wei was still awake when he arrived at the Blue Lake District. If he was already asleep, it would be impolite to knock on the door and disturb him. With that thought, Su Yun stepped harder on the gas pedal. The car drove all the way to the Blue Lake District. Su Yun registered at the entrance of the district and walked to the building that Ma Sana told him about. According to the door number, the building's lights were still on. Su Yun hurried into the building and pressed the elevator button. Knock, knock, knock. Although he didn't know what to say, Su Yun still knocked on the door. Who is it? A voice came from inside the door. Su Yun asked, Excuse me, is this Mayor Yu's house? The door was pushed open. A middle-aged man in his 50s stood in front of Su Yun. I am, and you are? Mayor Yu, you might not know me. I have some things to report to you. Su Yun said nervously. Ma Sana said that Mu Wei was clean, so he didn't even have any fruit with him. He was completely empty-handed. Mu Wei looked at Su Yun. Because Su Yun was empty-handed, he was sure that this kid wasn't here to give him a gift. Since he wasn't here to give him a gift, there was no harm in saying a few words. However, Mu Wei wouldn't invite him into the house. After all, this kid was a stranger. Then tell me. It's about a friend of mine. He accidentally got into some trouble and offended Chief Meng's little sister-in-law. Su Yun deliberately stuttered a few times before he said it. Mu Wei frowned when he heard about the little sister-in-law. Su Yun saw that there was hope, so he continued, although it was a small matter, Chief Meng cared a lot about it. Originally, the people in the Third Ring Road station were going to let my friend go, but... Su Wei took a deep breath and let out a long sigh. All right, I understand. If you don't have anything else, you can go back first. I'll talk to Meng Jixiang. It's already late, I should rest. Mayor Yu, I'm just afraid that my friend will be beaten into a confession or something tonight. Su Yun, you also know that it's only been 5 years since the hide-and-seek incident. A while ago, there was a fish bite incident. I'm afraid that something will happen to my friend. You have too little confidence in the people's police. There are no messy people in my district. After all, Mu Wei was a senior government official. When he glared at Dong Xuebing, He looked very dignified. Su Yun still wanted to say something, but the door was slammed shut. It was not because Mu Wei was angry at Su Yun for slamming the door, but because he was very unhappy with Meng Jixiong's actions. How could Mu Wei not feel heartache when he was sued by the people? It was all because he did not do a good job as a leader. Su Yun wanted to knock on the door again, but he raised his hand a few times and did not put it down. Forget it. Let Chong pay the price for his rashness. Tonight, he would let Dong Xuebing have a good night's sleep and see if the police station was comfortable. This would teach him a lesson. Soon, Su Yun followed the elevator downstairs. When he walked out of the staircase, he saw a man and a woman struggling to walk over from afar. The woman's footsteps were very fast, but the man seemed to have the intention of chasing after her. Don't get so close to me, Fu Ying Dong. I hope you can respect our classmate relationship. The woman's voice was a bit anxious. The man was still unmoved and continued to chase after her. Ro Xian, can't you see my heart? I am sincere to you. We will graduate from university next year. Why won't you fall in love with me? I swear, I can do anything for you. Let's go to France together. Let's go to Paris. I will make you a soufflé just like Ting Feng. Ro Xian, you are my soufflé. Don't be like this. Don't pull me. The woman's voice could no longer hide her annoyance. Stop, Su Yun said in a low voice. You don't understand what the woman is saying, right? Brat, you can't use force to chase a woman. Who the F***ck are you? What we are talking about is none of your business. The man called Fu Ying Dong scolded. His attitude was extremely arrogant and despotic. The woman frowned. It seemed like she really didn't like men scolding people. Su Yun was already in a bad mood. He raised his hand and slapped him. Fu Ying Dong didn't even realize that the other party had suddenly attacked. His mouth spun 360 degrees from Su Yun's slap. His face was instantly swollen like a steamed bun. Scram! Su Yun said with a glare. The arrogant and unruly guy instantly shriveled. How could he not be afraid of a real fight? He retreated while stubbornly saying, "Just you wait. Just you wait." Just as the brat ran away, the woman suddenly cried out in surprise. Big brother. Why is it you? Ah! Su Yun was stunned. The district's lights were dim. He looked for a long time but didn't recognize the woman. Do we know each other? It's me, Miru Xian. When I was working at a coffee shop, there were a few hooligans who wanted to cause trouble. You were the one who helped me. Miru Xian clasped her hands in front of her chest. She seemed extremely excited. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.